All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
See you
It
later.
was a great show.
Yep. Man, that was a good show.
Yeah, I agree.
Today we decided to start at the end, and we're gonna Pulp Fiction it. We're gonna go. Listen, Honey Bunny.
Listen, what about the samurai sword?
You're Honey Bunny. What? That's Kill Bill.
No.
What does he say in that scene? With the gun, he has the gun. He takes out the shotgun, and Bruce Willis has his foot on the guy on the floor. What does the guy with the gun say? You know, he's basically trying to tell him to get his foot off the what? What does he say?
I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, you do. You remember.
I don't.
Are you lying to me?
I'm not lying.
You don't remember one of the most famous scenes ever.
I don't remember the line.
How do you not remember the line? Everyone was saying it.
I don't know.
You don't remember.
I don't.
This guy he has a memory like a soap dish, but he always stands by his arguments. Whenever he's making a point, he's like, "There's no way I'm wrong." But you have a bad memory. Inaccurate. And then you turn around and is like, "Wait, what is so and so's birthday?" I don't know. I have a memory like a soap dish. Oh, you mean you just don't want to answer? I don't understand. Anyway, JD, what's today's show about?
We're going to talk about brand and why changing is not necessarily the best of ideas.
Well, I disagree with that, but we'll figure it. We'll come to a conclusion.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, artist brain just said something crazy, and then business brain will actually work with it.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right, just so we understand your argument, so I can write it down. You're saying changing your brand.
It should be changing an established brand.
Okay, what is it?
It's not necessarily the best idea.
Changing an established brand is not
necessarily the best idea.
How do you spell that? CESSARIILY.
Sure.
Hey, what is it?
NEC.
No, I got that part. Necessarily.
The best idea.
The best idea. All right, we're going to disprove that.
Ooh. With science?
No, we don't use science here because it's
just a bunch of witchcraft.
They're all theories.
Could you say it's witchcraft?
Your witchcraft.
I wish it was witchcraft. I could do like spells. And
let's see that. Let me delete this. I don't need this. All right, JD. So
yes, Tom.
What are you saying? JD says changing an established brand is not necessarily the best idea. My counter argument to that is why.
But is that technically an argument, or is that just a question?
I don't know. Well, before we get into it, let me read the definition of branding. The action of marking with a branded iron. Okay, so
fair enough.
I'm approaching this like you do, where like you find one definition and there's no other definitions to a word. You know, did you know run has 23 definitions?
I did not.
Yeah, now you do. And you did know because I told him the other day.
Well, I forgot the exact number.
It's 23. Anyway, it's the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. Ooh. Which slim down to simplify, and for the easy brain is what is branding? Branding is ultimately your morals, your missions, morals, and ideals. And you do this through
your voice and your image.
Your image, voice.
And then the conversation of your audience.
Make sure you're on par. And
make sure that you guys are on the same page and not just you have something in your head and they think that you're
all right, you're going a little too far now. You're going you went farther than we needed to go.
Okay.
What you just said had nothing to do with what we were talking about. You're talking about the value of branding, not what branding is.
Well, then I'm done.
That's why he's going to be a good host today, everyone. I'm just setting up the show so we can watch it fall apart. All right. So what is marketing about?
It is building and designing a brand.
No, it is not building and designing a brand.
Marketing is designing a brand.
Yeah, okay.
To build awareness.
Because what's the difference between building and designing?
I do not know.
Well, if we're building awareness, what does that mean?
You're physically making the awareness.
Well, building the awareness means that you're collectively growing on top of each other.
I see what
so
you're saying.
Building on top.
Gotcha. Whereas designing is literally just like coming up with the ideas.
You're coming up with the idea.
I see.
See why? It's weird. It's like I chose these words on purpose.
I figured you would have had some sort of.
But go ahead. Destroy the definition. Go for
it. So designing a brand to build awareness. Which creates interest that ultimately generates sales for people to buy into your brand's message. Emotionally.
There you go. All right. But today we're going to focus on branding, the value of branding, and as JD said, changing up your brand, specifically. Let's pop it back up just so I get it right.
Is not
I can't wait to destroy this one. Changing an established brand is not necessarily the best idea. I like that he added necessarily. If we rewound it, necessarily was not in there before I had said something. I believe you added necessarily. I believe you added it after I said something.
All right. Well, it's a good possibility.
I don't know.
My soap dish, man.
I remember
back that far.
How are you even gonna remember? What are you even gonna talk about? You're gonna be like, I have words, but I just.
How did I get here?
I don't even remember what words. Who are you?
Where am I?
What's going on?
Oh, this is really nice.
What do you mean it's our anniversary? I don't even know your name. I gotta buy you stuff? What's today? February 14th? Oh, babe. I got a memory like a soap dish. Why do you always call me babe? I don't know, babe. What's my name? Oh, see, I got a memory like a soap dish.
It's like that Seinfeld episode.
All right. These pretzels are making me thirsty. So to continue on, there's what the hell is this thing?
I thought you said Kinder for a second.
To continue on. So on the internet, they might say stuff like this. Here are 4 steps to building a successful brand. They say, define how you want to be perceived, organize your business based on these premises, this promise, like promise, you're promising to do this thing.
Like whatever it is you're promising to deliver kind of thing.
Yeah, communicate your promise and be consistent. Now, I have simplified that over the years.
You definitely want to be consistent.
Right? So what I simplified it to is what I said earlier, is brand is your morals, mission, and ideals. So that's define how you want to be perceived. What are the things you want to stand for? What do you want people to look at you to be like, this is what that brand means? Not that you have to say, hey, we support like the homeless and bringing, awareness to homelessness. It's not that it's that per se. You don't have to say that. But if you understand what that mission is,
then the actions that you take,
which by the way is organize your business based on this promise. So if my morals and ideals are A, B, and C, everything I do in my business should ultimately be to reflect A, B, and C. Right?
Which makes sense.
Okay. Can you add a D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Are you sure?
You can grow.
Are you sure? Because you said, let me pop that back up. JD's already seeing the fault in his statement. Changing an established brand is not necessarily the best idea. So you're standing by that if you add a D, E, F, or G, that isn't necessarily a good idea.
It depends. Let's say hypothetically you were to have
hypothetically
you were to have, one mission is to support the homeless or take care of the homeless and that whole thing, and then you add another thing which is like, oh, let's support the homeless by just not supporting the homeless and eating them and making.
Well, that's a contradiction of brand. That is something different. You're not adding an E. You're taking away an A. If your message started with A, help the homeless, and then B was whatever, and C was whatever, and then D is don't do anything to help the homeless, you're actually not adding a D. You're changing A. You're taking away A. And changing your brand's missions, morals, and ideals is completely disastrous. But that doesn't mean you can't change your brand. All right. And also, your image is not a representation of your missions, morals, and ideals in the sense of the foundation of its basis. However, you can change the way you represent your brand's mission, morals, and ideals. Anyway, moving on. Communicate your promise. This is truth in action. So it doesn't mean go around and say, hey, I support homeless. It means go help the homeless. And if you're a business or a not-for-profit, you want to get advertisement to this. So what do? You get news, you get press. But you don't have people come to do press on you. You have people come and do press on your business, which is different than you. You have to do it on the business helping this mission, providing. But you don't have the story beat. So when you call the news station, can you do a story on how we help the homeless? You go, listen, the story's about this homeless shelter and that it needs A, B, and C. And we're going to be there this weekend raising money to help this cause.
It's not about you or the people that you're with.
Yeah.
It's about the shelter, the thing that you guys are actually doing. It's the event.
And since you called the newspaper or the news to come and do a story, they are going to present it to you. They're going to do the story through you, but you keep it off of you. And then they'll just put your name and organization on the bottom. You focus it on, which you should be. You should never be doing anything to bet. It shouldn't be about, look at what I did. But anyway, and be consistent. Be consistent helps the conversation. However, if the conversation of your audience differs from your missions, morals, and ideals, communicated promise, then you have to change your consistency because you're not consistently showing your truth. Anyway.
So what happens hypothetically when you have a brand, like you think you have your missions, morals, and ideals, and like you're doing things that you're like, oh, this is what I want to do to convey that, and then you find out that the conversation that your audience is having is completely the opposite of what you were expecting.
You use your entrepreneurial brain and you change things up by being proactive and thinking outside the box. If something is not working, it doesn't mean you are wrong. It means that what you are doing is not working. So to get it to work, you don't try to make the thing that isn't working work.
You just adapt and figure out another way to do it. Is do what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Communicate what it is you want to communicate.
Some people believe that if I want to be, let's say, a successful actor, and I'm doing a very consistent A thing, like this, whatever A is, I'm just doing it consistently, and it doesn't lead me to be a successful actor, they think I need to change how I approach A because A needs to work for me to be a successful actor. Instead of going,
maybe I should try a B.
Yeah, let's try a B approach to be a successful actor. And the A isn't necessarily, because A might not be working, but you still want to be a successful actor. So let's try B
to be a successful actor.
Yeah, so they sometimes focus on the thing that they're trying to, the thing they do instead of
doing their job.
And it usually leads to whatever situation. But again, to simplify what we talk about when it comes to branding and marketing, specifically branding in this episode, is obviously your image, your voice, image, and conversation. So your voice is literally defining what it is you believe in. Your image is the way you represent that, so your physical action of doing it. So the way you know, everything from your color scheme to what's on your website to what you post to what you do in everyday life to how you live by your truth. And then the conversation is, are your efforts being perceived in the manner in which you wanted them to be? And if they're not, then you change it up. So that's simplifying it. But anyway, so go ahead, JD. Show is yours. Bring us in.
Well, the thing that kind of sparked my interest was a conversation I think you and I were having earlier last week or something. I forgot. We were talking about like Kiss at one point, and they basically set up their whole brand and like their image of being the space alien superhero rock stars and like makeup and lots of exploding things and axe base, which is awesome. And then they had that short stint where they took off all the makeup.
You mean short stint? It was almost 15, 20 years.
I mean
that short stint.
Yeah, that short stint.
Yeah, from like the 90s to like the 2000s. Yeah,
the 90s are a weird time.
Was it 90s or maybe it was 80s? No, it was 80s, right? Lick it up.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely 80s.
Right? Is that 80s? Let me see.
But the video was them like walking in a row up the street, wasn't it? Like the opening. Yeah, it was definitely very 80s with those hairs.
Let's see, year came out. Let's see, year.
But yeah, that was that's what kind of sparked the
1983.
Interest. I wasn't even born yet.
Wow. When did Kiss put makeup back on?
84.
96. Oh, that was 10 years. Still, that's
12 years.
Yeah.
But compared to their entire repertoire.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, go ahead. So what are you saying?
Well, you said in the conversation that they ended up getting a lot of backlash for that. People are like, "What is this? We don't know how to process the change in this brand." But that didn't necessarily, like you said earlier in this episode, though, it didn't necessarily represent the core of what their morals, missions, and ideals were. It's just how they chose to represent themselves for that almost decade and a half.
Correct, and that's why they did not change back to the makeup right away, because they had the backlash. They stuck to their gut instinct to be like, no, this is what we're doing. We are still the greatest band of all time. Whatever. When you go to the show, they still said the same thing. They still did fire, the blood. They still did the fireworks. They did everything.
They just didn't want the schmutz on their face.
They just didn't have makeup on. And I forget the exact reason. So they did an unplugged, and the original Ace Frehley and Peter Criss came out for like 2 songs or 3 songs, something like They did MTV Unplugged. And after that, there was like this huge like, are you coming back? Are you coming back? And since it was such like a big like, please come back, they came back with the makeup. And they came on, I think, MTV Awards or something like the following year. Or, it was like 96, 97 they did it, where they came out and they were like, we're Kiss. And they just were in the makeup. They didn't even play a show. People are, oh my God, you got the makeup on. So they came back as sort of like a novelty to the idea of the original band, which is another reason, like when they took the makeup off, they weren't even the original band anymore. You know, like people left. And stuff.
Well, the only original member is
Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
That's crazy.
They started the band together. And, you know, Ace Frehley was a drunk to the point where other people actually recorded most of his guitar stuff on the albums.
That's funny.
And Peter had an ego, you know, and so did Gene. Like, so
they all had egos. That's why they were all.
Did you know Gene Simmons didn't actually play the bass on all the albums? Most of them did not.
So you're telling me that a good chunk of the Kiss records doesn't actually have them playing?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What albums did the band have other musicians record for them?
That's fascinating. Did they even write any of this stuff, or they just like,
they probably did, but
the Kiss moniker on it, and then somebody else write it? So
what albums did the band? Oh, I forgot. Kiss.
What band?
Let me just
the band.
How about did Kiss have other musicians record them? Look at that. Mm-hmm. Who was the richest Kiss member?
Gene Simmons.
It's Paul Stanley with a net worth of
really
$200 million.
I'm actually really surprised by that one, especially with Gene Simmons being so like, you know, having a million businesses and owning like a bajillion trademarks.
What albums did Gene not play the bass on? I think that'd be an easier question to solve. 10 Kiss hits where Gene Simmons did not play bass on. Isn't that crazy?
Which one?
All right. Well, it's YouTube. I don't want to watch
YouTube.
YouTube.
It's not. That's really fun.
Yeah. So the reason they did that is because Kiss was a business.
And it didn't matter.
Yeah, he was going to be the guy who performed that side, but he wasn't going to be the guy
who necessarily recorded it.
Yeah. You gotta.
He owns the business.
Him and Paul.
Yeah. So again, he's like, I own the business. I'll make the money. We'll just make sure that we have a they have a quality that they're trying to maintain, and they're like, we'll just do the thing.
Yeah. So go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So what?
Why are you asking me? Tell the audience. I want to hear you say stuff, and then I'll correct you.
My questions, because I don't know the information is. What was it that made them want to take off the makeup to begin with?
Change. They wanted to change things up. It did. It actually helped them.
Really?
There was a backlash, but it helped them because now there was same thing with Metallica
when they cut their hair.
Metallica going to the Black Album was a complete brand change. You know that, right?
It was,
and it helped them soar in record sales.
Now, was it because it was just the conversation that was being had about it, and there was just such a drastic change that that's what helped the awareness of the brand? Or
they commercialized the music, whereas before that, it was about their aggressive behavior. They're partying, they hang out, they're drunks, the shows are crazy, and then it turned into we're gonna be in a sphere, and people are gonna watch the show around us, and we're gonna run around the stage a lot, and it's all about these hits, hit. In fact, if I remember correctly, you've seen one of the Black Album tour shows, right?
Not fully, but I've seen a bunch of the videos.
They didn't, every show, they did not play their older hits all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, they would cut songs up, they would play parts of the songs.
I did not know that.
They would jam out on a part for a long time, and then they would go into another song.
But it was mainly just the Black Album, and then
because that was the album that was selling.
Gotcha.
Like you think they closed with Master of Puppets? No, they closed with probably Enter Sandman. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably actually closed with Seek and Destroy. I think that's like one of their.
Yeah, I think that's like what they always close with.
Yeah, because they do that whole like going insane. They go, Seek and Destroy. All right, everyone, you go. Seek and Destroy. And then they put some hands. But again, like they toured for 4 years.
It's a long time for one album segment.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into making that album who they were. But when they came back with Load and Reload, that was a complete brand change from the Black Album.
So, did they definitely had one a sound change, like drastically, but they also had a physical image change. Did they change their morals, missions, and ideals from when they started to the Load Reload section? Because it always seemed to me, just watching as like coming in like the 2000s, like Metallica always had this, like don't give a shit, kind of do what you want to do, like the rebels outside, like that mentality. But I feel like looking back with at like older stuff, like the presentation is still like a lot different. And obviously like now like James is a family man, less addicted, less struggling with the.
He's less of an alcoholic.
Yeah. So, do you think that their core like morals, missions, and ideals?
That's 3 o'clock. All right, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Their morals and missions and ideals changed. I wouldn't say drastically, but definitely changed as they grew older. But there is a difference between changing it, like boom, there's subtle changes. You can completely change your brand over the course of time. The problem is changing your brand. Like, let's say I came out, people are like, oh man, Thomas is all for helping the homeless. And then literally the following month, I'm doing whatever I can to get rid of homeless shelters. That would be such a drastic change.
That'd be so dead.
Not only could you not believe anything I did in the future, but I would lose probably everybody except for like 10% of the true fans that were like, well, he'd probably be doing it because he learned the truth. Like you get those people. So that when you, again, you're not qualifying the word change. So I'm only assuming you mean the smallest of changes.
I mean, like, did they change? Like, were their missions, morals, and ideals the same from when they started, or they ended up on the Load Reload?
I don't know. I mean, it's all about drinking. They're not drinking anymore.
Well, they were definitely drinking on that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, no, Reload was when he was like, I had to get help.
Was it Reload or was it Saint Anger?
Saint Anger is them chronicling him getting help because Saint Anger didn't come out. Remember that? That movie was them filming the making of Saint Anger over the course of whatever, a year or two. So during that time, he was like, he didn't want to tour. He was holding back. So it appears that Saint Anger was the time he was getting healed. But it was during Reload tour where he's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is so much. Like, I need to step back. And that was an issue. And they were like, why don't we just record an album? And he's like, how about I just not do that? How about I just relax? And when he came in, there's a part in the movie where he comes into the studio and just kind of like starts jamming on the guitar. And he's like, oh, I missed this. And that's because he was away for a while.
Gotcha.
So
that makes a lot more sense.
But yeah, during that process from there to there, the end result was Saint Anger. But he had already been to AA.
And he was already in the process.
Yeah, he was already in the process before they even finished it. Before Kurt Hammett said, but everyone listens to the solos. You didn't know solos. That's all. When you think Metallica, you think solos. And everyone looked at him like, nah. No. They think about you guys cutting your hair.
I mean, out
in 1997 or whatever it was.
Sometimes you just gotta disappear.
This guy's humor is basically impossible. Yeah. Don't choke on your coffee and leave me happy. All right. So, oh Jesus.
I feel like being posh at some Earl Grey.
Let me do that. Let me put me on the camera so people can enjoy it. All right. So, look at you. You look like a penguin. You look like the penguin on your profile. Can you go? You know how to do the penguin voice? Oh my God. No.
I gotta do the penguin.
Not only are you not doing the Batman Returns penguin voice, but you're doing that Batman's hands. But you're not even doing The original penguin that was on
The 60s?
The 60s, who had normal hands.
Burgess Meredith.
He trained Rocky, damn it.
Oh my God, Freddie did.
You gotta run like lightning. What is it? You gotta piss lightning and shit thunder. Crap thunder.
Gutman. Gutman.
All right. So why do you believe changing an established brand is not necessarily the best idea?
Well,
hey Nathan.
Hey Nick.
Hey, looks better shaved. He does look better shaved, but honestly, I like when he covers up his face as much as possible.
The good thing we have all these masks with COVID.
All right.
So you like hanging out right now, so that's why the mask.
Who the hell are you? All right. So go ahead. What are you saying?
Well, after this little bit of a conversation we've been having, the qualifier I think that really should be in here is changing it drastically. Because, like you said, if you had said you're like here to save, help the homeless, and like after a month you're like, no, I'm gonna like burn down all the homeless shelters.
So you mean changing it drastically in a negative way to affect what it is you stood for? Because you can change your brand drastically.
You can. In a short period of time?
Correct.
Oh.
In positive ways. No, it's not.
Look at that. It hurts.
Like, for example, let's say you did not support cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next month you just were talking, you got involved with cancer communities and you started donating a large majority of your money to cancer foundations. That's a drastic change in your brand. And that would still be fine because it's a short amount of period because it's a positive change.
I see what you said.
The thing you can't do is drastically change to the opposite of whatever it is you stand for, even one thing.
So you're saying
like you can over time.
So you're saying with the example of deciding to support cancer and cancer research and all that, like if it is not previously within your brand's like wheelhouse, and then you decide, we're gonna give this, we're gonna support this, you can have that drastic change because it doesn't negate something you've already said.
Correct. That's a drastic change because you're going from someone who doesn't believe in supporting cancer community to someone who believes in supporting. That's a drastic change. That is, right? However, if you believed in supporting everybody the next month, you're just like all about isolation and people suck and teams, you can't trust teams, right? That would be
teams.
You know what? I want a team. I want a good team, but I don't trust teams. I had a dream the other night that if I ended up becoming like a multi-billionaire, and I was just like, I'll just pay people salaries to be a part of something. And I realized even paying them to be a part of something still wouldn't fully be dedicated to something. Even if I paid them like $40,000 a year, be like, all you have to do is just be on call. You got to do these things. These things are important. And, I'm going to pay you. And let's say you wanted to be a guitarist. That's all you want to do. I'm going to pay you $40,000 a year to be my guitarist.
You're on call.
You're on call. Like, hey, listen, I know it's like 8:00, but I want to get in the studio, have some ideas, I need to record some stuff.
Okay.
You're getting $40,000 a year. That's a high paying job.
For literally being on call.
Being on call. Now, you could go do other things, and that's okay. But they cannot interfere with the job. Meaning, like, if you were going to go on tour, you'd have to give me a huge, hey, I'm going on tour with this other band. You'd be like, hey, I'm going on tour, just so you know, this month. And then I go, that's fine. I just won't pay you for that time.
Okay.
Because you won't be on call.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a fair trade.
But you were on weekly salary, meaning like whatever 40,000 divided by 2 weeks is, that's what you were getting per week.
Yeah.
But you were also, you didn't have to pay for if we did a show or if we were going on tour, like, well, that was covered too. So it wasn't like so you were getting 40 plus perks.
Yeah.
Right. But in my mind, I know that still wouldn't make someone loyal.
Yeah, because they'd still be like, I'm gonna go do this other thing.
Yeah, but they can go do the other thing, but it's going to come to a point where they're like, I'm going to try to search for better opportunities, and if I get it, I'm going to take them. So to find a team, you have to find, in my mind, I try to find people that for $0 are willing to be involved in a mission. Not necessarily what I want to do, but a mission. It just so happens we're on the same page in the mission. But there's a leader and then there's followers. Like some people don't know how to accomplish this. They just know they want to do stuff, right?
Great.
And then there's people who know how to accomplish things, but they need a team to do it. And those are the people that you follow.
Because it's not a faith, but people are.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have tons of ideas. But a lot of times, the people that don't know how to get there, if they see an opportunity to catapult their career, they'll take it. Because all they want is they want their thing. They want to be the ones who achieve it. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard. It's hard to find people that aren't that. It's hard to find sincere people that want to be a part of a larger mission. And I've always felt if you want to be a part of something, earn your right to be there. Like if I give you money, I had somebody once at the theater. I was like, look, I'll give you 25%. 25% of whatever the theater earns over the expense, like $1,500. So after $1,500, you make 25% of what the theater earns as a theater. And they said, I would rather you pay me $300 a week. And I said, if you could get one class, which is 4 weeks long, of 10 students, that's $2,500. That means you've already made $250 for one class. We're not even talking about the shows, because you have to book Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Saturday has 2 shows. So what's 5 times 3? $1,500. What's $1,500 times 4? $6,000. So what's 6,000 plus the 1,000 over the 50? That's 7,000. So you just made 250, 250. That's 500, 500. Keep going.
70.
What? Altogether, if it's 70 times 250.
So 7 times 250.
Yeah. So 14.
Yeah.
If you have 7, JD, here's 500. Here's 1,000. Here's 15. 17. 17. So what's 300 times 4?
12. 1,200.
At bare minimum of just having 10 students, not having 3 days of classes with that would be 30. Not even having the 30 students, just having the bare minimum of 10 students in a class, and making sure that every day that is bookable is booked, you would make $1,750 a month
Instead of 12.
Instead of 12
For the parent.
For literally doing the job
And not going above and beyond to get more.
So I was ready and willing to pay someone more than what they were even asking for as a salary. But the moment they said that, I knew they were collecting a paycheck, and they didn't care about the growth of that business. I was literally giving them 25% of the earnings. And they're like, no, I want the guaranteed money. So you're telling me you will not guarantee that if I give you $300 a week, you're definitely going to book out that theater? You're going to definitely get students in those classes? You're going to definitely get the market? We didn't even talk about filling up the flyer, not the flyers, but the brochures, the playbills.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even talk about playbills. We didn't talk about the advertisement that goes into the theater itself. None of that. Like if you go out and you get like sponsorships from businesses, you get that money gets piled up, and then you subtract the expense of $1,500 for the month, and then you make 25% of the remaining money.
That is insane.
But people can't handle it. And I think the majority of people are branded from a brand of effort in the world, saying you need to be paid for what you do now. And I need instant response to my effort. And that's the problem with marketing versus advertising. Is marketing, it takes that effort that is going to, at times, discourage you because you're not seeing the instant gratification. Yeah. Whereas advertisement, if I pay $1,000 for the month, I'm going to see them. If you put $20 on a Facebook post, you're going to see that post blow up in comparison to what it normally does.
Because it's literally being pushed in front of people.
Going, hey, being pushed. But the moment you stop spending that $20, your posts are going to go back to normal.
Because you're not keeping up the advertising.
That's right. But with marketing, which is about designing create to build awareness, create interest, and generate sales, right? All that takes time for people to develop a relationship. And once you have that relationship, which in turn, when you change the brand, as you're saying, it's like a betrayal of that trust. So when you're working with somebody in a team and you have a mission, it's the circle of trust that you agreed to be a part of this mission. And then all you're doing is doing it until something better comes along. You're tainting that relationship. You're tainting that mission. And therefore your brand is being destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's hard to find teammates that are a part of the growth of everything. But as you can see, it all relates to branding. We have brands for ourselves. We have brands based on our relationships. We have, you know, and if you have a mission and it takes 5 to 10 years for it to become something massive, that's a success.
That's not the average time it takes for most things to actually get 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I've seen though, like for example, when my father was sick in 2009, when I came back in 2010, I opened an office up again, and in 1 year I was able to open a theater. I had the theater for about 2.5, 3 years, right? So I did that in an insane amount of time. Like that
was very quick.
It was extremely quick, and that's not common. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a common thing for someone to say, I'm going to do this and this is going to be the result. Because I said to myself, in 1 year, I'm going to grow my office to either the theater or a larger office because I should have that intake. And I just got to a point where I was actually able to do the theater instead of the office. Which is crazy for me because I literally owned a venue, which was one of my life goals. And I owned it before I was 40. You know, I was definitely how old? 35? Oh,
maybe.
Oh,
7 years ago.
2013, 2012.
8 years ago.
That was 8 years ago.
No, 9 years ago.
So 6 from 40 is what? 33. I was 33.
You're my age, right?
Holy crap! How does that feel?
Weird.
Jesus, I had a theater at your age.
You did.
I had a full career in music, a full career in acting. I was a writer. I owned several businesses.
I just long.
Jesus, what are you doing? Obviously.
No, but you run a business.
See what you just said there? What you just did was exactly what I was talking about. What? You said, I'm helping you run a business.
Because we're working together.
So you're not helping us run a business. It's that terminology.
That's what I was doing.
What are you doing? You're helping me?
Because
so you're not getting anything out of it. It's not implied. It's the way we think that changes the way we do.
I see what you're saying.
If you say to someone, don't forget to blank, 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 you're telling them to forget because you're using negatives. Say, remember. But the way we talk helps not only inspire us, but solidifies our agreement to a mission.
Well, then I changed my statement. I'm helping us run a business.
When I asked those 7 people, or whatever it was, a couple people, a whole bunch of people, and they said, like, they started saying stuff like, this has always been your baby, though. And I'm like, but it's not my baby. If I'm asking you to be a part of it, it's our baby. And I knew they weren't there for the I knew they didn't care about the growth of their company. And then what happened, their behavior validated that. And by the way, it's not their responsibility to be there for that mission. What's their responsibility is what they say and they agree to. If you agree to something,
stick to it.
That's the loyalty. I said I would do this.
So do this.
So do this. I'm not going to do this because I see results from you only. So I'm going to leech onto your results until those results don't exist, or I have another option. I had somebody once say, I ran into somebody, they wanted, I got to talking to them, we're going to meet up, and they wanted to see something about some stories I'm working on. And I was like, what about the story we're working on that we literally are like, this, we need to get this because this will get us in, and then we can start developing up. And they were like, well, you know, I got the meeting and stuff like that. And you're just like,
what a dick.
In my brain, I would have never done it.
Yeah, I know.
Everything I do is like, how do we do this as a team? How do we take advantage as a team? I may have, like, if they asked me to a meeting and they said, I want to hire you to work on this story, that is different.
Yes.
I am going to take that job, get in there, build relationships, and then I'm going to refer and bring people up.
Yeah, because they're specifically asking you to do something that they want. So you're like, I will help you do the thing that you want.
But when don't you hear that? I wonder where the heck is. I don't think. Oh, yeah,
What's that cookie?
Probably is right. But if I get an opportunity to meet with somebody and I turn that opportunity about me, first of all, I'm already doing it wrong.
Yeah, and that person's going to see through that.
Yeah. Unless they ask, like sometimes I've been in meetings where they go, I want to meet with you. I want to talk about A, B, and C. And you go, all right, I'm going there to talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go there going, oh, they can help with this thing, your brain shouldn't be like, well, how do I get my stuff?
Your brain should be like, oh, they want to talk about A, B, and C. Let's talk about A, B, and C and continue to build and cultivate that relationship.
But, you know, it also establishes a crappy brand in you. But anyway, go ahead. JD, it's supposed to be your show. I'm taking over.
Oh, no, it was just...
You got more important things to talk about. So go ahead. Branding has... I don't know what the title of the show is. I can't see the thing. Branding has value. So what is the value? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, JD. Branding has value. So what is the value of branding? Don't say what I said. Say what you said.
This morning?
Yeah, don't say what I said.
I don't remember exactly what I know you're right. You're almost always right.
Yeah, I want you to be wrong. That's the point.
What is the exact definition I gave this morning?
I don't know. What do you think branding is? What do you think the value of branding is?
Well, we already established that the second meaning is to take a hot iron.
Not what the definition is. What is the value of branding?
Oh, the value of branding, if I remember correctly, I said it was...
Would you die on this cross?
No. My hands are really tired.
This is not what I signed up for.
No. The value of branding, I think I said that it was how people connect with your, I guess, your missions, morals, and ideals. Something to that.
Yeah, something like that. Now, why do you say that?
Because I guess my brain just got stuck on the fact that the brand is what people emotionally connect to, and that's what they relate to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But is that the value of a brand? Just even saying, what is the value of a brand?
That is not, by definition, the value of a brand, because what I said does not give any indication of value.
Yeah. What you actually gave value to is marketing a brand. What is the value of marketing a brand? So people can see and become aware, then they build that interest, and they generate sales. So that's the value of marketing a brand. But what is the value of a brand is a very specific question.
Yes, that is.
What is marketing versus marketing? What is the difference between marketing and marketing? They're two different things.
And marketing?
Yeah.
I can't detect any difference between the words that you just used.
Well, what's the difference between run? What is the difference between... I don't know. I can't tell the difference between the words. Oh, yeah, but they still have different definitions.
Which order was it?
Alphabetical.
Buffalo.
Oh, chickens. There's marketing, and then there's marketing. So, like, marketing, traditionally, you might refer to it as putting stuff in a store, or it's also called merchandising, stuff like that. And then there's marketing, what we define, because I've simplified what marketing is.
So why is it that there's two?
Just like there's 23 definitions of run. They have different purposes.
Interesting.
Marketing, like getting to market. You ever hear that? Get it to market.
Yes.
Right. That there is a purpose to that.
Because it means get it to your physical market.
Well,
I'm assuming that's what that means.
Get it to the stores, get it to the people, get it to, that is a thing. I don't talk about merchandising your stuff. I talk about marketing yourself, like marketing the brand of what you believe in.
Because that is the more powerful of anything.
Well, that's my area of expertise. I don't really you put things on shelves. I'm like, I don't know. They look good. Face them, pull everything up.
Only two at a time.
All right, looks good. Yeah. Why would you do three?
You're only doing 2. Yeah, but what if someone comes by? Well, the second one is there. Well, if a second person comes by, well, then you face the rest. Well, what if I don't want to face the rest? What if I am gone? Well, you're gonna be, oh, it wasn't face. I gotta go. You, sir, are an idiot. Hate manager. Anyway, so yeah, so one of the other. Now, you were on a show the other day about merchandise.
Yeah, the conversation didn't really get.
How did it go? Let us know. What was the he was like, I can't watch the Falcon. I got research. And I was like, here's your research. I gave him 3 things that he needs to know. That's all he needs to know. And now he's like, well, I don't even talk about it. I don't even know why.
The conversation ended up being more about froofy beers, as the term was thrown out there.
Why did they have you on the show to talk about things as an expert? He's not.
That's a really good question.
You're an expert to them, but then I hear it and I go, what is he talking about? Isn't that weird how there's different levels of expertise? Like the word expertise means you're proficient and skilled in something, but there's
to a certain level
of expertise. But there are people who have a better expertise at something, and someone could literally be in the room being like, I'm an expert on this, and be blowing everyone's mind. And then there's
somebody else comes in.
They come in, and not only do they blow your mind, but everyone else goes, that last guy knew nothing. So that's why JD doesn't do speaking gigs.
Yeah, no, I hate doing speaking.
You should speak after me at gigs about the same subject, just so we can.
I
really...
can just I go up there and be like, what he said. Thanks.
What he said, but less informative.
Also, high five.
Marketing.
Done.
And things he said. All right, good night. Buy my book. You open it up, it says, buy Tom's book. Buy Tom's book.
Oh my God. Can we when the self-help book comes out,
can
we have like a compendium book that comes out like a month later? It's just it's just the greeting card and it's just buy Tom's book.
That's funny. I think that would be hysterical. Like if you wrote the book and all it is just every page just says buy Thomas's book. You know?
Oh God.
Dude, we're doing that. We're doing that.
I'm in.
That's marketing. There's a lot of humor in that.
Buy Tom's book.
What were you saying though? Merchant. So what was the conversation? What was the conversation supposed to be about?
Originally the conversation from when we had planned it out was what, different types of merchandise that bands could use in order to make money, which already that was a bad direction. But one of the things that you had brought up before I'd gone on to do the speaking spot was you brought up the idea of merchandise and then product, and like the difference between merchandise and product and what merchandise is actually meant to be doing. So when I ended up doing the speaking on the interview, I brought up the idea of product versus merchandise, and that right off the bat blew their minds like, oh. And then they were trying to be like, yeah, well, albums are kind of like merchandise and they advertise, and I just kind of
but they can't be. They're a product.
Yeah,
they're a product of result. A shirt is not a product of result unless you're a clothing store.
I was a clothing store
but
once.
There is a difference between clothing from that store and merchandise on shirts for that store. And the difference is one is for design and wear. Like this is our clothing line.
Like
and
the
then the
shirt
other
that
one,
you're wearing, which it doesn't have any like logo or anything.
Yeah.
It's meant for design.
But if I was like an Adidas shirt
with an Adidas logo
is
plastered on the front.
Yeah, it's marketing. But it's not merchandise.
I mean,
but their shoes are merchandise.
I mean, hypothetically, if you were to super glue the album to your forehead and walked around at the back,
well, then it would be a hit.
He's a hit.
Your camera froze. I just want you to know. Not on your computer, but on ours. So I had to take it off.
Oh no, it's broke.
I'm gonna.
You want me to go fix it over there?
Yeah, go.
I'll go fix the thing.
Yeah, go fix the thing.
I'll just leave the room.
Oh, thank God. All right, now that he's gone and he can't hear me because he's to my left without the headphones on, there's no way he can hear my voice because he's not wearing headphones. And so I'm just going to talk about him. So, ladies, what do you think of his butt? You think JD works out a lot, but do you think he has a butt? Let us know. Go to JD's website, makearightleftheere.com, and email me. You'll see me there, and let me know if you believe JD has a fully functioning round firm butt, or if he's flat butted. I'm gonna go with he's flat butted only because for someone who has a penis as large as his, you would have. Well, actually, no, that's not true because I have a pretty good butt, and well, I have a tiny penis. I have a very tiny penis. JD told me I had a small one, so I don't know how he knows this, but I do sleep with my door locked now because I kept waking up with my pants unbuttoned, which was very awkward. What do we got here? What do we got? Let's see. Boop. Hey, look at that. All right, go ahead, JD. What were you saying? All right, so you were talking about merchandise. And
Apparently, my butt.
Is your butt fat? Do you have a butt, or is it like?
I
flat?
definitely have a not very cushiony butt.
You don't have a butt? How you don't do squats?
I do, but
No,
it's
real
not,
squats.
Well, no. I gotta do more butt squats.
All right, and lunges.
I gotta do like that thing they do in the cartoons and just like use my butt to like walk.
So you were talking about merchandising. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so we're talking when I was doing the other interview, we're talking about the difference between merchandise and then product, and then you had pointed out that merchandise is made with the intent of marketing whatever the brand it is that is coming up with that. So like if it's a band in particular, they have like T-shirts, you have hoodies, you have hats, stuff like that would be merchandise because you're literally walking around with the logo or like their faces like on you. Whereas say like an album is literally just music. Yeah. You're not necessarily going to see anything. You're not wearing the music. You're not wearing the album on your head unless, you're my brother who just wears everything as a hat. Or that guy on TikTok. Or
it's like a film. Like a film makes toys. That's merchandise. That's,
like Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's how George Lucas made all his freaking money.
Yeah, that isn't product. It may look like product, but believe it or not, the movie on disc would be
the product.
Well, the movie itself would actually be the product, if I'm to be honest. Mm-hmm. The movie is the product. So seeing it in theaters is the initial product. And then they merchandise it onto DVD, Blu-ray, whatever else, streaming.
Would that be the product as well, though? Because it's just another way of consuming the visual?
It's a fine line, I would have to say, because the product was made to be seen in theaters. The byproduct, and that's how I would look at it, as it's not really, like, let's say I sold like a single, to me is considered merchandise.
You mean like a song single?
Like a song
not
single.
Like a dollar bill.
Like, so if I had an album or a single, to me the single is done for marketing.
So the single
So I would define that as merchandise, because you know what I'm saying?
Because it's meant to lead you to the bigger thing.
Yeah. So that's,
I see. So like a shirt or a hoodie would be like, oh, here's the thing to lead you to the other thing.
But the movie is done once it's at a theater, and now you're just buying product, like merchandise. I mean, you're buying like, I want to own this thing because I appreciate the product I saw. And but owning that leads you to the next movie when it comes out. Because you're like, obviously I'm a fan. I own stuff.
So when like Disney comes up with like the real lightsaber, that will be merchandise.
Yeah. Or like, when Disney re-releases like VHS is like the special 30th edition or 50th anniversary or 100th anniversary.
Are they doing VHSs again?
That's merchandise.
You mean DVDs?
Whatever it is.
Because I don't think they do VHSs anymore.
What is a VHS?
I don't know. I wonder if my niece knows what a VHS is.
If you dated a girl that only had VHSs, and then you're like, why don't you have any Blu-ray? And she goes, what the hell is that? But she's younger than you by 10 years. Would you stay with her?
I would be so confused, and I would feel like that...
Ageist.
She might have like that weird disease where she doesn't age and she's actually like
she's
80.
off an Annie.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what? All right, so go on. So you brought up merchandise but why did they want to talk about it? Boring.
I'm assuming that they wanted to talk about it because one of the guys in the interview is in a band, and I think he's just trying to find ways to make money.
How do you make money with a band?
By building up the brand so people have a demand for anything that you have. You don't just go, here, I got a thing, and smack them.
It's not so people have a demand. It's so you have the demand.
Then yes,
people want it.
So people want things that you have instead of just going, here, I have
you
this
want
thing,
the demand of people wanting it. They don't have a demand. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You want their, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But the point I'm getting at is that he was just like, what can I make so this way I can smack people with it and get
what
them to
can
buy
he
it?
make? What can a band make?
Well, he could do whatever the hell he wants. Whether it's gonna work out. That's a different
Now,
question.
Kiss makes caskets. Should you make caskets?
I mean, not to sell.
Why not? Kiss makes money with that.
Yeah, because Kiss has a brand.
All right, but Kiss wrote a book. Should you write a book?
There's no demand for it
Why not?
because I don't have a big enough brand. As to
Kiss
do
made
math.
a CD. Should you make a CD?
There's not a big enough brand. Not a big enough demand. If I did it, it would literally just be because I wanted to.
All right. So you made a CD though,
I did because I wanted to.
not because you're gonna publish it for people to consume,
It's gonna be put out there, but
not for people. You're not gonna have the intent to sell it.
No,
It's gonna be available for people to get, but you're not gonna push that the album is out.
I'm going to make an announcement that it is out.
Now
but I'm not.
you have
going to push.
actually just contradicted yourself because it's not to just be put out for you. The moment you have interest in marketing something, it's about other people, not you. Your
Gotcha.
album has nothing to do with you as a brand, and there's no demand for your album. However, if the 10 people that want to hear it, what would you do? You would just send it to them. Hey,
Hey, I did the thing.
I did the thing. But the moment you start pushing something, because that's what it'll be, because you're going to advertise it. What I mean is like marketing is like I'm recording something and people are watching that.
Mhm.
Advertisement is, hey, I have
got
an
this
album
thing.
out. Here's a link to it. Now you're advertising it, which means it is not for you. It's for other people. Because if it was for you,
It wouldn't matter.
wouldn't matter. Like if you just
I would
put
do
it
the
on-
Prince thing where there's like 50 albums in a vault,
exactly.
and I also wear assless chaps.
But I am curious because what you said doesn't make any sense now because you were on par with the right mentality, but then your artist brain took over.
How so?
Well, because you said you're going to tell people about it. If I'm going to tell people about it, it is no longer for you. You did not record that album for you if your intent is to tell people about it. Like if you're showing people your journey about recording it,
Mhm.
that's for you. But if at any point you post anything to redirect people to the album specifically, that is for other people, not you. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So your intent is convoluted. You're saying, like for example, Kiss made an album, so why don't you release an album? You'll make money. And then you go, no, you don't do that. You only make it if you want to. And I want to make an album. But the moment you want to get people to know it exists, you're doing it for the same reason Kiss did it. You want people to know it exists, so they consume it, so they validate you, so they purchase it, so they do whatever they can do to bring some sort of value to the product, right? Which is ultimately the band, because the band is the product, right?
Yes.
So that's interesting. So why is it? So why do you feel it's okay for you to make an album for the same reason Kiss did, even though you just said people should just make an album to make an album? If there's no demand for it, you should just do it because you want to do it. And
Well, I don't
have
have
intent.
any delusions that it's like I don't think the album's gonna
I didn't say that.
like
I
blow
didn't
up
say that.
and be like.
But intent is there. You said two different things. You said two contradicting things. And in marketing,
So
you have
then time out.
Go ahead.
I think maybe
Yeah, go ahead.
it's not. I don't know. I don't know.
I do.
I did it because I like making music.
Yep.
I made it, so why not put it out there?
Putting it out there is one thing. Telling people about it is another.
But sharing the experience and the journey along
Is
the
it
way.
for you? That's your journey. But the moment you try to get somebody to listen to it, that is advertisement. That is marketing. That
But
is pushing.
would not saying that it is done be the conclusion of that particular journey?
Saying it's done is about you. Saying it's done, here's a link to it, is about them. And that is marketing for the same reason Kiss put out an album.
Interesting.
The moment you want a response for a thing, you're basically thinking like Kiss
Gotcha.
or any other artist. But you're saying, unless you have the demand, only make the album for yourself. But if you put that time and effort into getting people to know the album exists, you're actually doing it for the same reason artists do it, and Kiss does it, and Metallica does it. And, oddly enough, Black Sabbath still releases stuff.
No, they're retired now
Oh, thank God.
officially because Tony Iommi's like battling cancer, and then Bill Ward is just having like
He's
8 heart
battling.
attacks
Oh, heart attack.
a day.
But anyway, so do you see what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I think so. So, question then:
Oh, sure.
when you do Altanian stuff,
Yeah, I just put it out.
Yeah, but you still make a post about it.
I make a post about me. It's my post on my platform for people who are fans of me to notice it. But I don't put time into getting people to go to a specific spot.
But you still share a link, don't you?
Well, with videos, usually it's just the video is posted. So the video is on the platform. But more importantly,
But is that not the same thing? Or am
It is not the same thing, no. Because I'm not asking people to buy into the interest of a song. I am just letting people know that it's done. And that's a big difference.
Yeah, so that's the end of the journey for that particular thing that you were working on. That little snapshot. You were working on a song.
Well, let me ask you another
song.
question. How many times do you see me reshare that video?
Almost never.
Almost never. That's the major difference. Is I'm putting it there on the platform for people.
A one and done.
It's a one and done for people to find it who are looking for it. But the moment you're making an effort for people to find it, to respond to it, now
that is pushing, and
that
that's
is
the
the
attention.
So that means if that's the case, when you're done with your album, the only thing you're going to do is going to post one thing on your Instagram, your Twitter, and your Facebook, and that's it. The moment you you say anything else, what are you trying to do?
You're pushing the thing.
Yeah, you're trying to get attention to it, and then that becomes you being Kiss. I do not post with the intent of people to buy my stuff. The only time I've done that in the last couple of years was probably the book. And even with the book,
you barely even did that.
Barely did that. In fact, I had people telling me to spend $500 to advertise, and I was like, "But I don't care."
You did the book because that was something that was always like on your bucket list.
It was on my bucket list. Plus, it was like therapy for me, dealing with the cancer and everything like that. So, afterwards, after I was like, let me focus my mind or something.
Which, by the way, the fact that you took such a positive route to do something after going through all that, I think it's a very wonderful thing that you did something that was for you like that.
Well, I did it because I wanted to make lots of money. I'll be honest.
Why is everyone having sex in these books?
Everybody. The dog farted on page 33. That's true. Not on page 33, but in the book it says, "While I was writing this, the dog farted."
Yeah, there's definitely that.
And there's also a secret code in there that people can't read.
Well, we're talking about the thing that
No, you're thinking of a Futhark, but there's actually a secret code in the book that no one could read except for me.
I'm curious because that's two codes then.
No, one is just a different language. The other one is literal code.
It is code.
But yeah, so the book, the book, if you notice, the book is just, it's sort of like on all my platforms, but I didn't go above and beyond. In fact, when I did radio shows, when people read a poem, I was like, I don't want to read a poem. And then they had someone else read the poem.
Why?
And then they're like, can you sing your poem to someone playing music? And then the kid would play guitar. I was like,
sing
no.
Once again with me. Wait.
All right. This is a JD show. But you know what I'm saying? I was not making an active effort to get people to buy that book.
Yeah, because it's a thing.
That's it. But there were people that were interested in the book that I reached out to and said the book is now live.
Yeah, because those are the people who asked specifically for you to let them
know. But that, I would say that would be the closest thing to quote unquote an artist brain that I've done. But my job
in a really long time.
A very long time. Even with the theater, I rarely ever marketed the shows. I marketed the theater
because you're like, that's the thing that needed to be marketed.
Yeah. And I did it through doing free writing classes, and I worked with libraries, and I did a whole bunch of stuff that was outreach programs.
Just don't work with those strawberries, though.
I did it with making fun of my accent. At least I don't look like a girl when I shave.
I mean, I do make I do.
I wasn't saying you, but look. See, did you hear? He's defending himself because he knows it's him. But the other thing is, I got involved with colleges. I started getting people to do internships. So it was all about how do I get people to be aware that the theater exists, and then from there it grows, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter the one specific thing.
But it is indeed. If your brain is in the functionality of people need to see this, and I'm going to push it, or I'm going to tell people that it exists, go to this, or
then you're thinking of the byproduct. You're not thinking about, important things like your missions. What's the purpose? What is it that people are connecting to?
Here's a prime example. Remember when you took a lot of time out of your life and you were pushing on Spotify? You were trying to get my song and your song, and We were getting lots of listens and streams,
Mhm.
right? And now what happened?
It died off
It died off
because there was no focus on the overall brand,
yeah, it was just listen to the song,
which was a thing.
And how deeply did I show that I cared?
You didn't. You're just like,
I'd be
JD.
like, okay, thanks. I'd make fun of you sometimes. I'd be like, oh, I see your song is getting on more Spotify, like.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in that situation, your brain was not thinking of a result of longevity. You were thinking of a result
Of the now.
of now. And that is the road to failure. You cannot succeed with instant gratification. Because let's say, this is going to sound like I'm being
Except
a
if it's
pervert.
pizza,
If you make love to a woman, hypothetically speaking,
hypothetically.
right, and you didn't pay this one, all right, hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
What did it say when when you're accused of something, but allegedly. But anyway, and you come with them, obviously that doesn't happen, but unless you're JD, I forgot JD. So in this situation, this hypothetical situation, of course JD made them come 13 times before you came once. And then JD was like, you know what? I finish. And she's like, I can't even move. And he goes, I shall activate the semen device. And then he just came, because he could do it on cue. Anyway, that instant gratification does not in itself make a loving, long-lasting relationship.
Agreed.
And but an artist wants that feeling of
the artist wants the sexy time and not the lovey time.
No, they don't want the sexy time. They just want the release from the sexy time. They don't care how the sexy time happens. They just want to get to the point where they come, right? And that's an artist brain. I know it sounds perverted, but
it's a pretty good analogy.
It's identical to the reality of how selfish people can be about products and how selfish they are about the thing they did. But if they are selfless on letting people just know that they exist as a mission, moral, and ideal, people will connect to you. But like what you were doing, Spotify, that'll never do anything for your career. You'll never make money pushing Spotify at the level that you can do it.
Yeah, because it's just a thing and nobody has any connection to the brand or the band's brand.
Or like you made a Spotify list. He was supposed to make multiple, but he really focused mostly on the metal one. But you have the metal BBR playlist, and it's like, why? Right? Like, why put any time into that? Like, you literally went out of your way to make a post to get people to submit their music. Now, why? How is that a part of our mission? And this goes back to branding, right? How is reaching out to people to get them to submit music for your, or in this case, BBR's playlist?
It is not, because the idea is that we want to build awareness so that they come to us on their own and not just ask for things. And we want to build a community. It's not about the playlist itself.
Yeah. When JD came to me, he said a statement. He says, somebody asked me if, hey, I have a rock song. I was wondering. And JD's like, he's an idiot. This guy, he wants to, I have a metal playlist. Why would anyone submit a rock song? So then I just said, well, you should have one available. So if someone submits it, at least you can give back to them and be like, I'll put it on this rock playlist. So JD took that as, let me focus on building a playlist. Specifically a metal. He'd even actually hear me. You did specifically metal, right? That's the one you put the most time into.
Those the ones that I was getting the attention to.
Why though? Because you made a push to get people to submit to that, right?
I did.
In fact, some days you're like, oh, I'm still responding to these people. Why are you still responding to these people? They're only responding to that post because you pushed it. And they're taking advantage of it. They're never going to listen to that playlist. Ever. But you made a playlist and it has nothing to do with our mission. So what does it become?
A thing.
A thing. And a waste of time. However, if somebody out of nowhere goes, hey, I noticed you have a playlist. Can I submit music? You go, absolutely. Then they submit jazz. You don't say, oh, I only have a metal playlist.
You go, let's make a jazz one.
Make a jazz. But does that mean now, hey, we have a jazz playlist. Submit your jazz music?
It does not.
It does not. Because the ability to accommodate somebody's needs is our mission. We want to be available to help people succeed in life by finding their yes. And if they go, hey,
and if they need something, we want to be able to provide it.
Yeah, that's right. In any way, Yeah, within reason. But we aren't supposed to go out of our way to make people know, hey, we have this thing because we want to do it. Because you may want to do the playlist, but I definitely don't feel BBR wants to do the playlist. Because why do we want to do a playlist? What is the purpose? And this is where brand value comes in. What is the purpose of a playlist? If we just talked about how you pushed your songs and a couple of my songs to playlists, and once you stopped doing that,
It died down.
It died down. So what is the purpose of BBR having a playlist?
There is no purpose.
But I'm asking you, what is the purpose? Like, why did you do it?
Well, the idea would, in theory, is to create a community around that, so people who aren't just looking to get their songs placed can be like, oh, let's go listen to music. So we have things for them. If you're like, oh, I want stuff in the background, but it's also an avenue for people who do want to have their music placed. People who don't necessarily, people who are independent or smaller bands have an outlet to have their music listened because that's what they wanted.
All right, it being there for people to have like, hey, can you put it on a playlist? That takes no time out of your day if someone reaches out to you. But the first part is interesting to me. How have you turned it into community?
Well, I have not, because I have pulled back from working on it.
So you were, all right, so tell me how you were making it a part of me. I'm about to break down why artists don't think properly. So go ahead. I know what I'm going to say to you, but go ahead.
Well, at the moment, I don't really have a plan.
But you said you stopped. So you were, in fact, working towards something. You had a plan in motion. So what was it?
Well, the original plan was to build up and have music on there.
Yeah.
But I was still kind of working out the...
Well, what's that have to do with community? Because that just sounds like a list, a playlist that you're growing. Just here's a playlist I'm growing. So when you said community, you said the idea was to build community. So how do you build community with that playlist? What was your plan?
I don't have anything further than what I had because I stopped working.
So you didn't actually have a plan for community, but but that's part of your defense of making the playlist.
I wanted to build a community, but I did not have a plan to make that a thing.
Can you build a community with a playlist?
You cannot.
So do you believe that statement?
Yes, because the playlist is a thing, and there's no people do not connect to things.
So when it comes back to the value of brand, by the way, is that it gives us direction, that it allows us to stay focused on what our missions, morals, and ideals are, because we can get lost in that. And getting lost in that is making a playlist that has zero direction. For you to say, I did not have a plan, and for you to say, well, I stopped, so I didn't get to that point, not only does that say to me, you started something without a plan, which is what?
Being half-assed.
That's artist brain.
That is artist brain.
Artist brain goes, if I do this, I will get that. That's literally what an artist brain does.
And does not have a plan.
Does not have a plan. If I make an album, I will make money. If I play shows, I will build fans. That's how they think. An actor does the same thing. If I get an agent or a manager, I will get gigs. For some reason, I forget all the other stuff in the middle of that. If I have a manager, I will be successful. It's it's the next step to my career. I need an agent or a manager. How long have you been doing this for? This is my 4th background gig. Good luck.
Cheers.
All right. You hear what I'm saying, though?
Yes.
So not only did you not have a plan, but this is the value of a brand, because we could look at it and we could just say, what does a playlist have to do with any of our morals, missions, and ideals?
It does not have any relation to it.
That's right. However, if someone reaches out to be placed on a playlist,
and we say, yes, we have something that we can do to help you.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we should have it ready. It doesn't mean we should have like a rock, a jazz, a blues, a country, right? It doesn't mean make those playlists. What it means is if somebody reaches out and they say, hey, I saw you have a metal playlist. Can I submit a song? And then it turns out to be jazz. You go, yeah, absolutely. We can't put this on the metal one, but we created a jazz one for you. It's just that we said yes, that we were able to say yes, that we were able to help them.
Which is more valuable than just having a playlist.
No, it's more valuable than going out there, creating multiple posts and saying, we have playlists. Would you like to submit your music? No one's not going to say yes to that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They were like, we have a playlist. You want to be on it? Yeah, sure. Here's my song. Put it on. And then you're going to put every song on there, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to say no to some songs?
Yeah, because
why not?
because the post is if you submit, you'll get placed.
See? So who's going to say no to that? So did you really build community?
Did not.
Do you see how that? See, you didn't have a plan. You thought if I make what happened was you didn't necessarily hear what I was saying with the initial conversation, because you went like gun ho into making a metal playlist, right?
Correct.
I don't even think you made a rock playlist right away, because what was you made 3 images, right? Or 2 images. Which ones did you make?
I think
It was rock. It was rock and covers.
It's rock covers and inspirational.
Yeah, rock covers and inspirational, and then there was like a metal one. But like the conversation started.
It was metal covers and inspirational. Sorry. There was the metal one, the covers, and then inspirational playlist.
Yeah. And the conversation started because of the rock thing, and you didn't even make a rock playlist. And then he's like, I did make a rock playlist, but you didn't even put time into making the artwork. Not that I care that you did or not.
You're just pointing out.
It's just very funny because you wanted to make a metal playlist. That was more important to you. Now, this is good for brand, though. We're learning the brand, the value of brand. So why did you choose to only make a metal playlist your prime focus?
Because people were reaching out to me for the one that I had personally, and I was just redirecting everyone from that to that. So I made the initial post to just draw attention to the BBR one and then build the attention to the BBR profile. And just get people away from the JD playlist.
Well, yeah, but either situation doesn't mean anything. It could be your playlist, it could be BBR's playlist. Like, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I wanted to focus on BBR being the focus and not JD.
But my question is, why did you change the purpose of the conversation? Our conversation was to have availability.
The intention was not to do that. I was just taking the attention that I was getting with my personal metal playlist. And redirected it to the BBR metal playlist. Yeah. And then I made the post specifically for the BBR one to get people away from my metal playlist to go to that one.
But in the conversation, what should have really happened? If people were sending you requests for your personal one, you just make the BBR metal one. And that would literally be what the conversation was about, availability. Because I think somewhere in the conversation, he was like, well, why don't I just make BBR playlists? And I says, that's fine if you want to do that. I wasn't like, woo, let's focus every day on that, you know. But the conversation direction was about just having availability for if somebody reaches out. But you went above and beyond and then redirected it from the whole. You didn't even make the rock playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't make that a priority. You made metal priority. And this is why you have brand value, because you're supposed to say, how is this helping? Not only did you not react to the conversation we had, you reacted to a conversation we didn't have. Like, you did something else. Would you agree with that? Like, the results of what you chose to do was not the result of what we had discussed.
Correct.
But so that brings us back to brand value, allowing our brand to dictate our action. So what was the motivation in that? Why did you choose to say, I know we had that conversation. I don't know what you said, but I'm like, what was the process in your brain where it's like, I know we had this conversation, but I'd rather do this. Like, what was the mentality? And did you utilize the brand that we have developed to orchestrate your choice?
I did not use the brand that we had developed to orchestrate the choice. But my thought process was, I'm going to take the attention from what I'm already getting. Over here.
That part I got.
And put it over here.
I I got that part.
That was it.
I'm asking, but why? I'm more curious on the choice to go away from the original. Like, what made you not interested in the conversation we had?
It's not that I wasn't interested. It's just that I didn't make the other playlist yet because.
No, but not just the playlist. What was the conversation we had discussed? Like, what was that conversation? Because what you did was not what the conversation was about.
Yes.
So what was it about that conversation that you weren't connecting with?
My attention. I had a profile that was getting attention.
I got that part. I got that part.
I'm letting you know my thought process.
Okay.
Which was, I had a profile.
You had a profile.
I had a playlist.
You had a playlist.
I wanted to stop getting attention to that.
I get that part, but that has nothing to do with our conversation.
I don't know what you're asking me then.
I'm asking, what was it about our conversation?
Is that what you're asking?
No, it's a rock playlist, but also for the availability of, ultimately, if somebody said, hey, I want to put a song on something, you just put it on there and then you move on. That was the conversation.
Yeah. So I was I brought attention to the profile for BBR, but it just so happens the community that I have been most active in is a metal playlist submission thing. So that's why.
I got that part. But you went above and beyond. You went a whole. I'm saying we had a conversation that you didn't act on. You just did something completely different, and you put a lot of time into it. And then you wanted to do a show about brand building and value of a brand. And I'm trying to show you that your choices to do that had nothing to do with our brand mission. And that's the value of brand, to be like, and then you said the purpose of it was to build community, which I don't believe was true, because you did not set up a plan to build community. You just made a playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
So like I'm trying to show you and the audience how to really take direction, how to take action.
Well, me not having a plan definitely left a lot of floundering and not not a good result.
You were a fish in the metal bowl.
Is there water in the bowl?
Yeah, just to finish up the conversation.
Mercury.
All I'm saying is we had a conversation that you completely ignored, because you did not take what we had said and just focused on, if somebody sends it to you, I'll just place it on a playlist that's BBR and I'll move on. You went to a different direction. You went to build that playlist. You listened to songs that add to that playlist that weren't, you were like just putting on successful bands. You were making posts, right? Now, is any of that what we talked about?
It is not what we talked about.
And that's what I'm asking. Like, what was it about that our conversation that you disconnected with? What was it that you were not interested in that made you make a different thing
at all? I was very much interested in it, but again.
Are you going to say you had a playlist on your own thing? All right, let's move on then.
No, well, I've been active in a specific Facebook group.
Yeah. I got
which is all metal. Which is why the metal one.
I don't care about that part.
Grew.
Like, I already understand that part.
Okay, so
I'm actually,
when you're asking,
because you did not actively choose to do what we talked about,
which is just be there and provide opportunity,
which you didn't do because you went above and beyond to be aggressive in the effort to build that playlist.
Well, I wanted to build attention to the fact that we
know you did,
Spotify,
which has nothing to do with our conversation.
Well, people don't know that it's there.
They're not supposed to.
Okay, well then that is the disconnect that I had.
That's what I'm saying.
It's because I wanted to build attention, the fact that we were there.
Why?
And had that, so people
go ahead, say what you're going to say.
That we could provide that.
No. What does that have to do with our brand mission then? What is our mission, morals, and ideals? Bringing attention to a playlist we have. What is the intent of that?
Well, it wasn't necessarily the playlist. It was the fact that I guess it is a playlist.
It is, because you made it about that playlist, not all the playlists, that playlist. You made it about the metal playlist. And you didn't make it, the only thing you should have done is just be like, somebody sent me something for rock, I will put that one song on a rock playlist, and I will do an image. Then if you really wanted to, if somebody sent a request to your JD metal one,
make it for a metal thing.
Just be like, I am going to place this on the BBR metal. And even if it's one song, you move on.
I see what you're saying.
That was what the conversation we had was. But you spent lots of time that had nothing to do with our missions, morals, and ideals. And that brings us back to the statement, what is the value of a brand?
It keeps you focused on your missions, morals, and ideals.
Yeah. So what you did was you didn't pay attention to the missions, morals, and ideals. In fact, we didn't even have a conversation. You did what we talk about a lot when we're in, when we do office things. You sort of just do things, but we don't have a conversation. Well, we do have a conversation about it, but then you don't actually follow through with that conversation. You do like a JD thing, right? Which is, would you say that happened with that situation?
Yes.
So that's why the brand exists, because if we have that conversation and you choose to just do something completely different because you have a better idea and you don't want to have a conversation with me because it's supposed to be us doing something, right? You can look to the brand and say, how does this influence the brand? And if you say to yourself, I'll figure it out as I go.
That is wrong.
Yeah. Should you stop what you're doing?
I should reevaluate what I am planning on doing.
So this is not an attack on you or a critique on you, but it's trying to show why there is even a brand, because everything you did, you would have already figured it out without me having a conversation with you. You would have been like, oh, I get it. I should not be doing this. No matter how brilliant of an idea I think it is, no matter how much I think in 30 years I'll be able to equate this to building community, right? But you can't even answer that question. How will you build community with the playlist? I didn't think that far, and I stopped. The problem is you didn't think that far after you started,
which is an issue.
And I think we talk about this often. I always tell you, I was like, don't just do things. Like if you're going to do something, you still haven't done it after we talked about it just recently. Remember? I was like, don't do anything until we have a conversation because there might be direction I want to give you, or maybe you're unsure of what you need to do. And then you spend days on a playlist, building a play. Though I'll be fair, JD did say he barely spent any time on it. And then we did like a retrospect of it, and it was a ridiculous amount of time compared to what he had said. Remember that?
Yes.
Now, why did you feel you had, because you realize with me, you could have just been like, yeah, I've been spending way too much time on this.
Because I didn't feel like I was spending a lot of time on it.
But did you, so you believe deep down in your heart, you're like, I barely even touched this thing.
Well, I didn't realize how much it had added up to. It's because anytime I did it, it was like, oh, a couple minutes.
Yeah, but we realized a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, because every time I did do anything with it, it was a couple of minutes. It was like,
would you say you worked on it every day more than twice?
No.
So what you're saying is you only worked on it a couple of minutes for one submission.
The only time
each day.
The only time I spent time on it was when I made the initial playlist.
Yeah.
And then when I did the images for each playlist.
And how much time do you think you spent on it with that?
Hour or two altogether.
You spent, first of all, because I know for a fact you spent more than an hour on the design, because I was paying attention to you.
Okay, so then
it was definitely more than an hour.
All right, so that was more than an hour.
But despite that, you're telling me it took me, how many people responded to that post?
A lot.
Just like 5?
No.
10?
Definitely more.
Give me a number.
100.
100. I had 200 plus people say happy birthday to me on my post. It took way more time than I wanted to spend on responding to every single one of them, to the point where I still spent a lot of time just liking people who just said happy birthday. And you're telling me you spent less time listening to a song slightly, commenting and responding to everybody, then placing the song,
well, they didn't
and then
all
putting the
comment
song
at the same time.
They didn't all comment happy birthday at the same time. But you're telling me
you had 200 people within a day.
Yeah, but I didn't respond to them in a day.
Yeah, but
I waited.
Yeah, this is 200 people over like weeks, if not months.
So now it's wait. You were working on that playlist for months.
Because people are still commenting from time to time. So if I get one comment,
no, we're talking about from when we had the conversation.
Are you not including from the conversation to now then?
No, I'm just including.
Oh, then I have no idea.
What do you mean?
Less than 100 then.
Less than 100 people.
Yes, because now
and it took you like 20 minutes to do it.
At once?
No, I'm just saying if you add it up all the time, what is it, about 20 minutes?
Yeah, no, definitely more than that.
How long? I'm just asking.
I don't remember.
Wait, what do you mean? You're saying it didn't take long. I'm just saying
I'm spending like 5 or 10 minutes a day.
A day. But only once. Like, so if you posted if you did one person, that took 10 minutes.
Not one person. I think most at once I would do 5. 5
people, and you did, and that took 10 minutes,
give or take.
And then you did not touch that playlist again until the next day.
Correct. If not the day after or 2 days after.
Or 2 days after. All right. Maybe it only took you 30 minutes. I could be wrong.
It was definitely longer than that.
It was a long time though. Would you say it was longer than you should have been on it?
Yes, we've already established that.
All right, that's what I was wondering.
That was never an argument.
But I'm trying to understand why your brain is like, I barely worked on it. Like, because, consistency.
Yeah,
it takes up
because it
time.
wasn't registering that 5 or 10 minutes. Wasn't adding up everything all at once. Like, oh, it was this much time.
Well, then, no, but you're saying it really wasn't that much time in retrospect. It just
in the day,
in a collective.
When you add it up all together, it definitely adds up to be a lot.
So what you're saying is that 10 minutes was a time block that you dedicated to the playlist.
If I had finished early or whatever I was doing, or had a quick thing, then yes.
What do you mean a quick thing?
Or if I was going to go eat lunch or take a quick break, I would do that.
So it was so important that you would do it during your lunch.
Because it would take 5
or 10 minutes. What else would you do what else do you do that's more important than that during lunch?
Sometimes I'll do marketing stuff for us, or I'll eat while I'm doing other things.
Well, marketing we know isn't really a big deal because there's no brand to attach to with marketing. But
if I have something on my list, I will sometimes work while eating.
Yeah.
Unless I just literally walk away from my computer.
And then what do you do?
Eat.
You eat your computer.
Funny story.
What I'm saying is just, I think, I feel you might not realize how much time you were putting into it.
Oh, no. I already established I did not realize how much time I was putting into it.
But I mean, to put any time into it was a lot of time. And you're saying still to this day you're doing it, right? You're still doing it?
Not every day, no.
Yeah, but you're still doing it.
If someone comments or requests, then yes, I will put them on the list.
Now,
or a list.
A list?
Yes, because we have multiple
lists.
What
lists do we have now?
We have the rock, we got the metal, we got the
We
covers.
Officially have a rock? You made an image for it?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. How many rock songs are there?
20?
20?
30?
Jesus. You had 30. Wait. You went from only one person sent that was your argument why you didn't make it. You didn't focus on it because we only had one rock song. To 20 or 30 rock songs?
Yes, because I went and put a little playlist together.
Oh, like successful bands.
Not just successful bands.
How many unsuccessful bands?
I don't know.
So you're saying
there have been multiple.
You're saying they're unsuccessful?
Listen, everybody's successful.
No, success is based on making a living within your field of interest.
No, I've had multiple people submit for the rock one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Why is that?
Probably because they were just like, hey, you have a playlist. Can you add me?
Could you do this? And you're like, you know what's funny? We have rock.
I can do that.
All right.
Also had someone submit with I don't know, like some sort of like smooth, like a singer, acoustic songwriter, whatever.
Yeah.
So I made a smooth. I forgot what I called it.
Smooth listening.
Yeah. Easy listening.
Not acoustic. Not acoustic.
No, because it's not all just acoustic. Some of it's like electronic in origin.
It's like heavy metal.
Sure. So I have one of those playlists too.
What do you have? You have a heavy metal playlist?
Yes.
With smooth listening, heavy metal, acoustic playlist?
I'm totally going to make a smooth listening heavy metal playlist now.
That's not
it's just all Opeth.
It's going to take 14 days out of his life. I only worked on it for 10 minutes every time I remembered.
What am I doing? Oh, yeah.
You know, I could see you posting on social media, right? Yeah, I don't care that it says that. I interacted 30 minutes here, but it was like 40 minutes before this. You know, there's a time thing on it.
Yeah, the timestamp.
Yeah, the timestamp. That's funny though. So how come moving on to brand? Why do you continue to do things without having a conversation with me, even though we had a conversation about potentially doing that so you could stay focused? And then what is the thing? Because I know you wanted to talk about brand and the value of brand and changing the brand up, which you do by not having a focused brand, right? Because when you post for yourself or you post for BBR, there's no focused brand, right? We talked about that.
Yes.
So what is it that keeps you from actually wanting to talk about that stuff? And
well, normally it's because I feel like I understand what I should have changed from the last conversation we had, and it turns out that I don't.
Yeah.
So it just it seems that the conversations aren't always clear when we finish them.
Yeah, I got you.
And also bad habits.
Very bad habits. But what about like when you're supposed to do a task and then you choose to do the task and then but you don't do the task correctly?
Well, because again, I think I'm doing it correctly because I thought I understood, the
Can
direction.
I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Did we or did we not have a conversation where I says, it probably would behoove you to at least tell me what you're about to work on so we can have a quick conversation about
it? We've definitely had that conversation.
Several times, would you say?
Several times.
And how many times have you remembered that conversation with your soap dish to actually ask or say, hey, I'm about to work on shaving my nuts. Do you have any advice? And I go, yeah, I wouldn't eat those nuts. They're probably dirty. You know how much?
I've pulled back a lot from doing so because no good reason.
Okay, so what is the disconnect between being productive and doing it the JD way? Like, do you feel like you have such a clear understanding of what our brand mission, ideals, and morals are and how to accomplish tasks that you don't even have to have that conversation with me?
Honestly, it's more the fact that every time we have the conversation, it just gets more and more in depth and they go longer and longer and longer. I feel bad because I don't want to take you away from all the other stuff that we end up having to do.
You're already taking me away by having to redo it. When you do something wrong, I have to start doing it when you're not around or like without your knowing, because I know that you are not capable of doing it now because you refuse to talk to me. Not that you do refuse to talk to me, but your actions are showing that you
Are not talking.
So that would have to incite that you are choosing not to talk to me, which means you're refusing not to talk to me, especially if we have the conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then not only do I got to do like the client work and then like some of the other stuff, now I'm like, all right, well, I have to do that stuff. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like,
You're saying you'd rather have the long conversations than having to go back and do everything yourself.
correct. Because the long conversation should lead to
Not having the long conversation.
yeah, like they should get shorter and shorter. But if they keep getting longer and longer, what is that saying? And keep in mind, I have over 20 years of consulting, teaching, educational, simplification of complex data, and I have had several very successful people in my life come through my educational system. So I would like to assume that I am not a bad teacher. I would like to assume that based on statistics.
I mean, it is accurate.
I may be a bad teacher for you, but I don't think I am a bad teacher.
Agreed.
Mostly because I've spoke in front of many people. So I understand the foundation of conversation. Like I know how to break it down to simplify it. But you need to learn. You have to learn.
Well, I do. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, you do have to learn. Not you.
Yeah,
do
no, I'm
learn.
agreeing. I have to.
Oh,
learn.
okay, all right. I thought you were saying you do learn because I was about to be like, well, okay, what you learn?
No, I'm agreeing. I have to learn.
Yeah, you definitely. But how do you learn if you're not asking questions? How do you learn if we're not having those conversations? How do you learn if you're doing it your way? If your way is A, the first time you're doing it, or B, you don't know how to do it.
Well, I'm not learning. I'm just doing.
You're just doing, and then if you resolve to, let me just try it again, and which we both know would be crazy.
Yes.
To be like, let me just try it again. I'll see if I can figure it out.
Oh, because I'm going off of the new data that you had given me in the conversation.
No. If I don't give you data, if I'm just like, you gotta change it up. Let me go over it. Let me just try. I have something in my head.
To be fair, you literally give me new data every time
I know
we have a conversation. So I'm like, let me go off of this one point of information that you've given me before you give me an entire conversation, and I just lose everything and it becomes a convoluted mess in my head.
You need all the information.
Again.
Remember,
convoluted information.
The old information is still valid, though.
I understand.
All right.
But if we're having a conversation and you just give me a whole buttload of information at once and I'm confused to begin with.
Sometimes he goes, you said on October 3rd, 1943 that you would not do this if that happened. Yeah, I know, but that's a different example.
That's a different situation.
Well, then how come it doesn't work with this one? Because this is a different thing. That happens, though.
It definitely happens.
Now, so what is our brand?
To bring people together, to educate people.
Is that it?
That's not it.
What is to bring
those are the
together?
Those are the
it's
two
actually is it bring people together and then another one is to educate people, or is it like bring people together to educate them?
I suppose it could be that one.
How do we like to bring people together to educate them?
By creating opportunities
that allow them to
work together
practically in practical situations, whatever.
Yes.
To physically be able to learn something, right? To have an environment that is designed to allow you to be comfortable and exploring different things that you may or may not have ever had the guts to do. That's one thing. What else do we got?
A lot of cricket noises.
Come on, JD, you got this.
Yeah, no.
Let's put the camera on JD. Let's see.
I guess.
Go ahead, JD.
I'm out of blank.
How long have we been doing this for?
A while.
How long have you known me for?
Even longer.
Oh, Jesus. Is this the soap dish thing?
This is the soap dish thing.
This is why you didn't think you were working on that playlist that long. Because as you were working on it, it was fading from your memory. And you're like, I've only been working on it for 2 minutes. It's 3 hours later. Yeah, God, I got hungry in 2 minutes. Let me go eat and continue working on this because it's more important than anything else in the world. At any time, did you think it was going to change our lives?
No.
You just were like, this needs to get done?
I just figured that why not provide something that people were asking for?
Well, why not? Why not provide? So why should you have not done that?
Because it was a waste of my time.
But why?
Because it was focusing on a thing and not the mission, moral, or ideal.
See? So for you to say what you just said means that you have to learn better. Like you wanted to talk about this topic. I could have let you talk about it all day.
Mhm.
But you have to understand what it means. It can't just be things you say, right? So you have to have direction or an erection, one of the two.
Or both.
Which one rises?
Both?
Not mine. It just hangs there.
If you're going up a mountain, it definitely goes direction up.
Mountain.
Take me across the sky.
So what else is our missions, morals, and ideals?
You got this.
I do not got this.
Well, I definitely don't got this.
What do you think it is?
Well, I already said what I thought it was, or else I would have
Well,
continued going.
you got a little, but you have more. Is there more? Is
There
that
is.
all we are?
No, but I do not know.
How do you not know?
'Cause I
You
do not
post
recall.
on our behalf,
I do.
and then you choose to do activities based on our behalf, and you don't choose to make a plan on the things that you choose to do. On
Which
our
is
behalf.
why things are all convoluted when I do stuff.
That's right. And also, a lot of times, the conversation we have about what we want to do, you do something else.
Again, because it is all convoluted
Yeah,
from
yeah.
my perspective.
So, what do you think you should do in that situation before you start something?
Confirm it with you.
Oh my God, JD, that's a great idea. I like this. Look at you being proactive. This is amazing. Is that entrepreneur brain just
It
leaking
is
out over there?
definitely.
Oh my God. You know what artist brain is?
Not what I just did.
That's right. Artist brain is a selfish act of it's about my value and I know what I'm doing. I can do this. I'm going to get it done. Let me see if I could do it on my own. That's all artist brain. Why would you try to do it on your own? No artist will ever succeed on their own. It's about the people around them. So just that mentality of let me see if I could do it on my own. Is that, have you ever had that thought?
Yes,
That's artist brain.
it is artist brain.
Is that entrepreneur brain?
That is not.
So would you say a lot of the results of what you get is from artist brain?
Yes.
So that's why we have this show, to show people your artist brain so we can explain how to change that brain. I mean, you're obviously going to forget about this episode after we get off, but the people listening
Wait,
might say,
we're on the air.
no, we are sitting down.
Mm.
You got off the plane.
Oh, I definitely should have got off the plane.
Yeah, because you almost fell off. I mean, it's just metal. How do you hold on? How'd you hold on for so long?
There's a plane?
Well, yeah. It was a long field of grass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a house.
When did I get a dog?
Oh my God. I have a dog.
What kind of dog? They have a dog.
Do you hear what I'm saying, or am I sounding crazy?
I definitely hear what you're saying.
What am I saying?
I need to stop being a stubborn, thick-headed.
Not you, but
No.
in general, like, should people be stubborn like that?
No, because it doesn't help. It
Why-
just leads people to
Yeah.
be hitting their head against the wall.
Oh,
They're beating
Jesus.
a dead horse, as they say.
Oh my! Well, sometimes that's fun. I mean, it's dead. It's no longer animal abuse.
It's a piñata.
If I walked across to a dead animal, I just be like,
La, 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 la,
boom,
la.
ba-dum, ba-dum.
Oh, look.
Hey, I think I could play. What is it? What did you say? I think I could
The
play.
xylophone?
No, but he's like, at the last song, he's like, I think I could play.
Oh. I failed.
That was pretty funny.
On the rip.
What else do you think people should learn from this episode today?
That you should just focus on things that you're doing. If you have a mission or things that you believe in, like
Like what?
let that guide you.
What do we believe in?
Helping people.
Get the hell out of here. Do we believe in helping people?
In a less broad term, yes.
Yeah, we don't actually believe in helping people. There's a very specific thing we like to help people do, because we don't like helping people pay their bills. We don't like helping people eat.
We want to teach them to pay their own bills.
No, we do not want to teach. We want to teach them how to organize their money so their money pays their bills.
Yes.
Because now they are not paying their bills.
We will not.
Their system.
We
is
will
paying
not
the
give them a
bills.
fish. We'll teach them how to fish.
No, there are no fish.
I mean, I like fish.
being a being a fisherman and a man on the beach is a fine line. That's a Stephen Wright joke, but I think I messed it up. I think there's a fine line between being a fisherman and a man just standing on the beach. I love Steven Ray.
That is really funny.
He's also the guy that came up with that joke that everyone steals, where he's like, "I moved into an apartment and I would hit the switch and nothing would happen, and I did it for weeks, and finally I get a call and someone from Russia, and they say, 'Could you stop hitting the switch?'" And like everyone does that joke now, but like
I don't think I've ever heard that joke. That's really funny.
he's so funny. He does like one-liners, but sometimes like he'll build a story on one-liners. But like it's just he's very, very funny. He's the guy that does the thing. He's like sometimes I'll put fake brick wallpaper over real bricks, and I tell people, "Feel this. It feels real." That's so funny. That's literally something I would do if I had the money and time. I'd just have a brick wall and cover it in brick wallpaper. You know, this is crazy. All right, what else did we learn today? We talked about a lot.
We learned the difference between a brand and the value of a brand.
What is the difference between a brand and the value of a brand, JD?
Well,
I don't know. You tell me.
The value of a brand keeps you focused on your missions, morals, and ideals.
Has that helped you?
Well, in theory.
What are our brand missions, morals, and ideals, JD? To help people, but not to eat. All right, JD. That's completely terrible.
We don't like people eating.
And then what is it? The value of a brand, and what was the?
And the brand is what people are emotionally like connecting to. The value of the brand is keeping you focused on making sure that you're actually sticking true to your brand.
Would you say you do that?
Not enough.
Would you say you do that for your own brand?
Not enough, because an issue that I have is separating brand JD from real life JD.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Your post though yesterday was amazing.
Thank you.
With your fingers left the fret. This is a terrible post. I read that. I was like, oh, okay, he just gave up. He's just using funny words.
Fretboard.
I want people to feel what I am feeling. I know. Feeling. I want people to know that I touched something. Feeling. My fingers leave the fretboard.
Why do I sound like an evil leprechaun?
I want people to know that I saw something. Using my eyes, I squinted at what I saw. They are feeling what I saw. I want people to know what I taste. I used my mouth, and I had tasted what I ate. What's going on here? I want people to know what I smelled. Through my nostrils, odors soared down my throat, and I was able to elaborate on what I smelled. I use the word smell. I am describing the smell. I'm using a sensory. Dude, can you please write them? Well, you do anyway. Just continue doing that, because that'll become your brand.
I gotta go.
This guy's on drugs. That'll be your brand. All right, what else did you learn?
Kiss was without did not use their makeup for a good 15 years.
Yeah, but what did you learn from that?
It doesn't matter how you present your missions, morals, and ideals, as long as you stick to your missions, morals, and ideals. And you're allowed to change your brand over time.
Yeah.
You know, it can drastically change over time, but it can change drastically in a positive light really quickly.
Now, how do we represent our brands, missions, morals, and ideals?
By our actions.
Yeah. What kind of actions are those?
Well, we consult clients on how to educate.
Well, that's our job.
Well, that's our job.
That's what we do. Yeah. That's not. Well, actually, that's what we do. That is not our job. But that is not an example of truth in action. People hire us because they believe in the brand, which is they believe that we are educated and have the value to consult them, and therefore they pay us for our brand's value. Okay? People don't hire you because you play guitar.
That is true.
They hire you because of the value of your brand, which is associated with the value of your cost.
Which makes sense.
So how do we show our brand's mission to help?
Oh, we physically create opportunities where people can come together.
Whoa. Is the lights on or off?
Well, sometimes.
Now, when these people come together, does the song play? Come together
Right now.
over my face.
Well, definitely in my head. I don't know about you.
How many people have cummed on you? Counting myself? 7.
Enough.
Would you say no one's ever come on you?
No.
Oh, you've allowed it to happen?
I've had women come on me. Yes.
All right, so let me explain to you something. They may not have been women. There's a good chance. There's a good chance. What did they stand over me and just let it just down like like the drop? What is that? What is that ride at the fairs where just you're up there? And
Oh yeah,
the drop thing.
the log flume thing.
No, like you're like in a parachute. It goes. It just drops like it's just an instant drop. It's like a zero gravity
Oh, I
drop.
thought you were talking about like the log ride where at the very end you fall and like the waterfall. You have to go through the waterfall.
No. I'm talking about like it's just the drop thing. It's just you go up really high, like you travel up, and then you get into it, and it goes, and it just drops really fast.
Tower of Terror.
It might be. I guess that's like something like that. Like
yeah. Or they literally just shoot you down.
Yeah, they just drop you. They it's free fall. It's a free fall.
Free fall.
Anyway, so that's what they would just stand over you and just.
No.
All right. Well, then they didn't come on you.
All right. Well, then they didn't come on me.
They had penises, is what you're saying?
No, they didn't have penis.
Would you ever stay with a girl that you found out had a penis, but also had a vagina? But you didn't know they had a penis, nor did they. It's just it developed fully because they're a hermaphrodite.
How do they not know that they have a penis if it's
because it didn't develop fully? It was something that sort of developed over time. Like, let's say you started dating someone like it was 22, and it's just a miracle, a miraculous, medical. Trust me, there are crazy medical things out there.
There are very crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Andy Garcia had his twin brother removed from his shoulder. So, yeah, you making that face like, what? What? See, now you have to understand that what I'm saying is possible.
Why is the human body such a weird thing?
Would you stay with her?
I guess so.
Like if she had a working vagina and then she developed a penis and she was truly a hermaphrodite.
I mean, she's just like, oh my God, where's this penis coming from?
Yeah, like she's like, I can't remove it though because it'd be bad.
Why can't you remove it?
Because she's too old. They can't remove it at a certain.
Is that true?
Are you saying she has to remove it for you to stay with her?
Oh, you have like
you don't want to go down on it. It's like hanging on your face. I love you, babe.
Oh my God.
Oh, you came on me. I didn't think you were that close. Hey, Tom, I got an answer for that question you asked 20 years ago. What is it? 2. That's counting myself, just for the record.
Guess I'm investing in goggles.
Would you seriously stay with someone that had that affliction?
I mean, is she like a mean person or
yeah, she's mean. You've been with her this whole time before the penis. She was mean, and you were just like, but she has a vagina, so I'm okay. I can excuse the attitude. But once that penis came, I really noticed your bitch of an attitude. I don't understand what you're saying. You are with her. She develops a penis. The attitude doesn't develop with the penis. She doesn't become a dick because she has a dick. You know what I'm saying?
What if she's like, I don't know what to do, and she can't like emotionally process it. Therefore, she starts lashing out at me.
I'm gonna be angry. A girl asked me about that with the quadriplegic thing. I was like, I don't know if I could be with you. What if you turn into an asshole because you have no legs and arms? And then she says, well, quadriplegic only has they can't use their feet or their legs. And I was just like, all right, so you're also an idiot. I've told that story many times. But anyway, she had good boobs though.
Beep boop.
Your camera dropped out.
Oh no. Right. What's going on my computer?
I don't know. Your computer sucks. It's a Mac. So you would stay with her?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wait. I need a definitive answer.
Then yes.
You definitely would stay with her.
Maybe.
What is it about that situation that you would not stay with her?
If she starts being
nice. She's nice.
All right, then whatever.
So would you stay away? Would you be like, could you just
like get like a hair tie?
Could we get a belt?
Like
a hair tie? How skinny is her waist? Where are you gonna put the hair tie?
We just get some like duct tape.
They come out. That's how they flirt. Hey, baby. Oh, duct tape. I don't know what time it is now.
Oh my God, that would literally be the funniest thing.
Would you allow it to touch you? Or would you touch it? Like if she felt it and felt good, would you be like, because it's a girl?
Maybe, I guess so. She liked it.
What do you mean you guess so? I'm saying she likes it. Would you be like, hey, it's a penis?
Yeah.
Would you give it oral?
Probably not.
Why not? It's not gay. She has a vagina and boobs, and she's a female. And she identifies as a female.
Meh.
You would just jerk it off.
Yeah.
Would you touch it? Would you slap it? Wait, would you go? You would give her oral, but not oral on the penis.
Yes, because I can stick something out of my mouth with the lady oral and not
What do you mean?
my tongue goes out of my mouth.
Yeah, your tongue could go out on the penis too.
I mean, it's true.
You could be like, you know.
Yeah, well, then I guess
What is the big difference though?
now that you put it that way, nothing.
So you would just gobble that up.
Sure, why the hell?
You
not?
just
If she wants it, it's gonna happen.
How deep would you go?
Probably not that deep because I feel like I don't have a gag reef.
Now,
Well,
what if you went really deep, and she's like, I identify as a man, and then oh, and it's like, just kidding. For a second there, you were gay. For a very small second, you were gay. This close. I don't think close. You forgot to tap my shoulder. It don't count.
but it doesn't work because she's a woman. She just has it.
Yeah, but it gets hard.
Yeah, but it's not gonna like.
You don't know. What do you mean it's not gonna?
I don't know where it's. This is weird.
Imagine you're going down on there and just shoots on your head.
Like,
Oh man, we definitely have to talk about a new situation. This is gonna change everything.
this is gonna change everything.
This is going. Well, that's gonna change everything. What about if you grew a vagina? What would you do with it? Would you fill it up with like combos?
I would
like
probably play with it a lot.
Oh, I see what's going on. He hesitates for the woman that he's with, that he loves, but with himself, he's like, "Nah, I ain't leaving the house." What is the difference?
I can play with it.
So
anytime.
you like playing with your penis, but you don't like playing with a girl's penis. Hypothetically
I
speaking,
can't feel when it's being played when somebody
What?
else
is going on.
I don't know.
You
We're
can't
done.
feel but you're touching it. Doesn't that mean we can feel it? That's the sensory. That's the descriptive sensory. I have my
touched it.
hand on it. I felt it. I feel with my hand. The release of my hand, releasing the release of the penis, felt relieving when the lights were on me. I had to hand it to her, and I did.
Hello.
Hello, Han.
What are you?
Richard, meet Han.
Wait, what?
Richard, penis.
Yeah, dick.
Richard is short for penis.
I don't think so. It works out.
Would you name your if you had like a son or a daughter? Would you name them like a ridiculous? Like, would you really put time into their name, knowing that there's a chance for branding purposes? Let's keep the brand. Like, would you be like, like, would you and your whoever you had the kid with, like, just throw out names like, yeah, let's just call him Pete, and you're like, wait, Pete, feet. Pete smells like my feet. Nope, we can't use Pete. And just be like, how about John? John, you all bathrooms shall all latrines shall be named John. No, John. Like, would you do that?
Probably not.
You would just name the kid. You'd be like, your name is forever douchebag. Shithouse.
I would probably try to find a name that I meant something to me.
Like what? Wait, man, you're gonna name the kid something that means something to you. What about the kid?
He cannot communicate to me. Yet.
Why is it a guy?
It cannot communicate to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Well, but you don't know that. You might like. What if it gets older and goes, really, Felipe?
Oh my God, I'm gonna name a child Felipe. If I ever have a child,
I'm gonna adopt a child. I'm gonna adopt 10 children.
child.
I'm gonna adopt 10 children and name them all stupid names. But if you put all their names together, it's the greatest name ever.
What?
You know, like Christopher. Like some people, they name their kid Topher instead of Christopher. They just Topher.
Like Topher Grace.
Yeah, like Topher Grace. Like I would just take a really cool name and then just break it up into like 1 or 2 letters or 3 letters.
So you have to put all the kids together.
Like this is K. And this is this is Re.
Oh, Chris.
Topher. Christopher. And then when I want them all down, I go, Christopher.
And they're all like,
yeah. You don't think that's a good idea?
that is hilarious.
I'm just
totally do
saying, I would be the father of the year.
You should totally do it. Do it.
Would you do something like that if you had like
No.
6? Why not? What would really keep you from doing that? You can give them a good middle name and then just call them by their middle name, but you just know for a fact they have the coolest.
I mean, I could just name them all chronologically and give them all like first names that the first letter is just.
Oh,
spell
like
something out.
oh, like-
so it becomes an anagram.
so they would be ABC Dorian,
Sure.
like they're in alphabetical order, or you just what do you mean?
No, you could just be like, first kid can be like Charles. The next one could be Harriet.
Yeah, but then that's not an anagram, is it? I mean,
no, not anagram. Is it?
Because it has the first letter of each word spells something out.
Yeah. So it'll be like
Oh, I see. what you're saying.
Charles,
Yeah,
Harriet, Richard,
yeah. Indigo.
Isabel.
Oh.
Sam.
Why do you
Chris.
call her Indigo? Because we can't ever find her. And also, that's how we get her in the car. In you go.
Indigo.
Indigo. So that's how you brand your children to be completely mental cases.
It is a wise.
All right. What else did
decision.
we learn today?
Don't argue with Thomas
Why not?
because you never win.
I always win.
No,
See, you
anyone
just lost.
arguing with Thomas.
Why do you feel that? Why do you feel that?
Because I've never won an argument.
That's not true. I've seen you. You won the mailbox one.
I mean, technically, we both lost because my description of the numbers was wrong.
Oh, that's fair. I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, give me an example of the last time I won a conversation.
Just now.
Where? What was the conversation that I won?
The me not coming to you.
Oh
for
yeah.
clarification.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Do you think I'm out of my zone to say that?
Not at all.
Does it make sense?
It does.
A strong leader presents the truth to the people that are around them.
Correct.
So I notice you never tell me the truth. I do tell you the truth. Whatever it is I'm trying to say. Well, what are you trying to say?
I
saying
don't know.
The idea was to build a community around the playlist. Is that the truth? No, really. I didn't. That wasn't the idea. You know why that's actually not a true statement?
Why is that not a true statement?
Because you said the idea.
Because they didn't have a plan.
Yeah,
So it couldn't have been a true statement if they didn't have a plan.
yeah, because the idea was to build a community around the playlist, but there was no idea. There was no idea written out and planned out. So it wasn't even an idea. It was just like, if I make a playlist, it will build community. But you see how you do that? That's how you figure out if it's an artist brain. If I do this, this is my result. But why do I want these results? What can I do between what I want to do versus what I want the results to be? And if what's in the middle does not focus on your brand's mission, morals, and ideals,
Then it is not a good step to take.
it's not a good step for your particular brand. You know, obviously, like if someone goes, if I make an OnlyFans, I will make money. That is an inaccurate statement. Why?
Because if you make a thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that
That's
you will
right.
make money, because it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a demand for the thing.
Yeah, if I make a movie, I will make money. That is an inaccurate statement. But if you have a mission, morals, and ideals for how you will make that movie,
That is what is important.
that will lead to making a successful film. And by successful film, I mean that it will earn you a return on your investment, both time and potentially money. Time always. If what you do represents your brand's mission, morals, and ideals, the return is always good on your time because you're building awareness to the things you believe in. You might not always get financial return from it, but you could. And in the long run, you will. Because in the long run, the more people that believe in your brand, the more people want to support your brand. So what do? They buy your shirts. They buy your CDs. They buy your books. They buy your movies. They pay for your things.
They buy your used
sponsor you.
underwear if you're an OnlyFans person.
Listen, I just thought I could fit in it. Would you sell if you had like 30 girls say, I want to buy your socks and underwear after you wore it?
No,
You would not start an OnlyFans?
no,
Would you just sell it to them?
no.
Why not?
This is gross.
If they're like, I'll give you $100 for your underwear. This is why JD will never be successful. He does not see the demand. You don't even have to advertise that shit. You just need to be like, all right, on the down low, Venmo. And you could put socks and underwear because it just say you gave me money because, you know, I had to buy socks. And think about it. If someone bought one pair of underwear, you could buy like 6 bags of underwear and still have money left over. So if you have 30 girls buying $100 worth of, how much is that?
That's a lot of money.
30 times 100 is $3,000. We're not even on the socks yet. And you're telling me, no. They're just underwear.
It's gross.
Some people just buy new underwear, and then they dry it. They do the dryer for a long time. They give it, and then they just sell that. You wouldn't do that?
That's lying then.
Oh my God! No, you own the underwear. It's your underwear.
But it was never used.
Did you hold it
Yes.
to put it into the dryer?
Yes.
Did you fold it?
Maybe.
All of that is used.
Mm,
See?
that's really stretching it.
No, that's me thinking outside the box. In a proactive effort.
Well-
I'm trying to make $3,000 here.
Well, I guess Thomas is going to start selling his underwear.
No girl wants my underwear. Do you wear underwear, right? No, you wear boxes.
I do wear boxers.
Are you a boxer brief guy or a boxer guy?
Boxer guy.
See, I'm a boxer brief guy. I needed to be snug in there because I hate when it just hangs and dang. You know what I'm talking about? Like when it hits like your knee. You know what I'm
That's definitely past the short level.
I know. That's why I hate wearing shorts. If you notice, all my shorts are really long. I don't like short shorts. I can't.
Floop.
I'm not saying why I can't wear short shorts, but I am saying it does get uncomfortable for lots of people.
Mainly the dog.
Have you ever had that issue where if you wore like short shorts, you're like, why is it hanging down so far?
I don't think I've ever worn short shirts past a child.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had trouble then too.
I just don't like wearing shorts.
You don't like wearing shorts?
Mm-mm.
Why not? You don't like the wind?
It just feels weird.
I know when the wind hits the tip, it's like
If I'm wearing shorts, it is like Hades outside, and I'm like, I can't deal with this.
now. Why is Hades outside? Is Hades hell?
Yes. It is.
Isn't Hades the
Hades
god?
is the god of the underworld.
So if it's hot as
But I believe
underworld,
Hades is also in reference to the underworld. Like Hades is the place and the god.
so Hades is the underworld.
I believe so. I have to double check that.
Is that like Long Island is also the abyss?
Yes. Although the abyss at least had like those cool glowing aliens.
All right. Now what did we learn on the show, JD? I don't know. We learned that JD has a memory like a soap dish only when it's convenient.
Yep.
However, when he is in discussion mode, he stands firmly on the cross of his decision, of his ideas. I'm not going to bring it up today, but we had a long conversation about the definition of orbit and Jupiter. Look this up, everybody. JD read several, and by several I mean 3 articles. One being from a child NASA page.
Before responding to the orbit thing, yes, Hades is referred to as the underworld.
I know
sometimes.
it's Hades.
But I was getting information. But I was reading that there is a theory that Jupiter technically does not orbit
Technically, that's
around the sun
Yeah.
because
orbits in space.
it orbits a point in space
Yeah,
because the gravitational pull between the sun
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jupiter, because
got that.
Jupiter is so massive, the center of gravity is not in the center of the sun like
Yeah,
it is with all the other planets,
Interesting.
and therefore it gets moved outside of the sun to slightly past the surface. So this way,
is there
the
like a
sun-
rock there? Is there
maybe there's
just
a
like a
rock, I
little
don't know.
rock.
No, but it is not a physical thing. It is just the gravitational pull, the center of gravity between them is outside of the
Yeah.
sun, and therefore the sun is also orbiting that one point
Yeah.
in space.
Yeah, orbiting.
And Jupiter
Look up
is
the
also
definition of orbiting.
orbiting.
Now, would you die on the cross on this argument?
There's not enough information for me
I
to
know
say
there is not enough
that
information.
this is a definitive thing because it is a relatively
yeah. I got
new theory that has been proposed.
you. That will.
But I think it is a fascinating theory.
But you were you just
ma-
so
the-
I'm
the
clear, were you
mathematic-
arguing as it was accurate, or were you arguing that it's just a theory?
Well, all science is a theory.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when I gave you my counterpoint, were you saying that my counterpoint is now 100% wrong and your point is now the right point?
What I was trying to say is that
Yeah.
the way that Jupiter and the sun interact is completely different than
We're having a different conversation.
No,
I'm asking.
the point I'm making at the core that I was making, that the way that sun and Jupiter move around one another
Yeah.
is completely different than the rest of the planet.
You're saying that's 100% accurate, and the way I was counterpointing that is now 100% wrong. But you just said that theory doesn't have enough information to be 100% accurate.
Well, I don't have enough information to
So
go
I-
further with this conversation,
so
so
what
I
I'm
can't give you a
saying-
definitive thing. I'm just saying that the
Are you-
math compared to that says that the center of gravity between the sun
Yeah.
and Jupiter is not in the center of the sun.
Yeah. Jupiter does not orbit around the sun, is what you're saying.
That is what the theory says.
And do you believe that is 100% correct now?
I believe that changes the perspective of what the term orbiting means.
It definitely will change the definition of orbiting. Now, do you believe what I was saying is 100% wrong?
I do not think that is 100% wrong. I think there is more data, but I do think that
go for it.
The Jupiter goes around a point in space.
So you believe that is 100% correct now? Because you believe that Jupiter goes around a point in space and not the sun.
It goes around.
Yeah, keep going.
The sun, but it orbits specifically.
I understand what you're saying. So that's what you believe. So that means you believe that is 100% accurate. And what I said is now 100% inaccurate.
That Jupiter orbits the sun.
Yeah. Based on the quote, it is a new theory that has not been qualified. It is a working theory. But because it's a working theory and it was on social media, and then they researched 3 websites, including one that was a child NASA's website.
I'm intrigued by this theory, and I would like to see further.
But what I'm saying
research.
is,
I do not
do you
think
believe it is 100% accurate?
Well, it can't be because it is a theory, and it hasn't.
That's
does
why
not have enough data.
So, but what you're saying is, so you don't believe that is 100%.
All right. So I think I'm going to take away the term orbit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that the sun.
Yeah.
And Jupiter are circling a point in space,
but not each other.
They're interacting with each other, but they are literally there's a focal point in space.
So how long have you been studying this brand new, spanking new theory that you have literally changed your stance on?
This is literally just today.
Just today?
Yes.
But you believe it 100%.
I do not believe it 100%.
You are saying you believe it.
Well, I'm going off of.
Are you listening to this? All right, let me just put it in perspective. I'm talking to this guy, right?
All right, so
just hear me out. He tells me, all right? Just listen to me. This is not you. It's a whole other story. I'm talking to this guy, right? And he says to me, he goes, listen, I just read in 3 different magazines that there's a brand new working theory today that we can fly. So now I believe we can fly. And then I said to him,
well, the
wait. I said to him, you cannot fly unless you use extracurricular devices such as a plane or wings. And they says, no, I just found new information that tells me that we can fly. So I believe it 100%. It's a working theory, but I believe it 100%. Which one of us sounds insane?
Does he provide the information?
Yeah. He says, here's the 3 articles. And I say, oh, this information is a working theory that is extremely new that has not been qualified yet. And he goes, bah.
So like how new?
Well, how new is this?
Like at least 5 years.
This is 5 years.
Yes.
And they have just made it. It was inducted into scientific fact.
They've been talking about it in scientific sources for the past 5 years.
But what I'm saying
NASA
is,
being one of the sources.
Yeah. They're you know why they're doing that, right? Do you know why they're doing it?
Why they tell you?
Because they're researching. They're trying to qualify it. It hasn't been finalized. It's like the black hole theory. It's like the Big Bang theory. Once what's his face? Stephen Hawking discovered the concept, the theory of the Big Bang. He spent his entire life trying to disprove it. So even though you have read this thing that is quote unquote 5 years old, at least you are automatically believing it, but it's in process of being studied to be debunked or to be qualified. I'm not saying I am 100%. I'm just asking you, do you believe you are 100% accurate with that statement?
Well, I can't be because
or am I 100%? Are you saying?
I have no way, and you have no way to physically go out of our way to prove that is 100% accurate.
The only thing I could prove is that the data that I have, which by the way can change based on new evidence, has been the accurate standard for that. So in a debate, I technically would be winning. Because I can prove that
even though some of the sources that you would use are some of the sources that I have found.
Yeah, because
giving the counter for it.
Because it's a standard. You know, whenever they like a precedent.
Yes.
the precedent outweighs a new data because the new data becomes a variable or it becomes like an anomaly. So until they have spent the time and
So until it's in textbooks,
until it's not just textbooks, but it has to be in there's an actual it has to be published, but it's not published in a text.
Those are definitely published.
But what
What do you mean by published?
Talking to JD sometimes feels like I'm trying to talk to my nephew because he doesn't understand the process. Just because it is published doesn't mean that it is not being debunked.
Well, all of science, for the most part, is just constantly being studied and debunked and proven right or wrong.
Well, I mean, gravity, we have come to the standard of gravity.
Yes.
But if someone came out tomorrow and said, we have 5 years studying that gravity doesn't exist.
Yeah, but there is still a center of gravity between two objects.
What you're saying is this is not a working theory. This has become science fact. That's what those 3 articles that you said you read. Because you keep saying it's a working theory or it's a theory. I'm asking.
I need to do more research, which I have not had a chance to do more research.
I'm imploring you to do the research. That's
Yes,
why I'm asking. Do you believe it 100%?
I need more data. But according to the data that I have, it makes sense.
It's plausible. But what's interesting to me is you're automatically believing it 100%. And now the thing that I believe is accurate based on the standard is 100% incorrect. It's just it's interesting. It's a study. As everybody knows, I love studying psychology and how the human brain works. What's happening right now explains a lot about who you are as an individual. It explains a lot about a lot of people out there. But you don't have enough information to assume that assimilation of truth.
So you're saying that a source that has been proven to be like the...
Listen, JD, it's 100% right. I agree with you. You do not need to research it any further. In fact,
well, that would be
did
stupid.
You know hazel eyes are only blue with green speckles? That's a fact. If you do not have blue eyes with
that's
green...
a lie right there.
Why is that a lie, JD? I went my whole life knowing that.
Yo, you were not open
JD told me I did not have hazel eyes, everybody. But go ahead, JD.
Well, I was given new data, and I was proven wrong, and I accepted that.
But your new data was based on the standard. Your data that you were surviving with was based on a minimum.
The data that I got about the gravity thing
I know
came from the people who have set the standard for,
but
astrophysics.
So what you're saying is this is 100% fact now.
I do not have enough data to say that is 100% true, but
you are agreeing with it
because it is plausible. But I can't give 100% because I don't have enough data.
That's all I got to hear.
Well, why are we arguing then?
Because you kept saying that it was correct, but it's not correct because it hasn't been proven correct. You only read 3 articles. So you're not going to do any more research. You're going to tell everybody from this day on that is the truth.
That is wrong.
No, I'm asking.
No, I'm telling you that is incorrect. I'm definitely going to do research on it because I think it is a fascinating concept. That the fact that one of the largest planet in our solar system does not technically orbit around the sun.
This isn't the interesting. The interesting part is the behavior. So
is the fact that we're having a debate on science?
No, we're having a debate on behavior. I'm studying your behavior. It's your behavior that I'm interested in. That's the part that's intriguing to me. Because it dictates your brand building of who you were from a child till now.
The fact that I like to research science?
You're not researching it. How many articles did you read in the last month about this subject?
Not a lot.
Did you find this out yesterday or today?
I found this out today.
That's my point. You found it out today. I know for a fact you did not do enough research. No, because
between the time I started reading about it and the time you woke up and I told you the fun fact.
Yeah.
So then we had a very long conversation where I physically could not do any more research because I was having the debate with you off of what I had already
That's not what we're talking about. The point
is because you're saying I didn't do enough research.
So did you or did you not do enough research? It has nothing to do with if I stopped you. The question is, did you or did you not do enough research?
There is more research.
It doesn't matter if I interrupt that. That's an insane statement of an excuse. Because I interrupted you, you did not get to it.
No,
the question was, did you or did you not?
I only read 3 articles
today, and you completely believe it. That's the behavior I'm studying that I think is interesting. Like I'm intrigued by that.
It's not
It's not a
completely
judgment.
believed because it is not enough data
So
for me to have 100% belief in the subject. But going off of what I read, it is a plausible thing that makes sense.
I'm on board with you.
So then why are we
that
having
it
an
is
argument?
we're not arguing. I'm having a conversation about the behavior. You're having an argument about science. The behavior is you read something this morning without a deep dive of data searching. I think that's a very interesting article, a very fascinating tidbit. What's more interesting to me though is you read something and now it is something you believe.
No, that is wrong.
So you don't believe that's right.
I think it is plausible. I do not have enough data for
All
it to
right.
be set in stone. So I don't know
Now
why we're
you're
having a
saying
discussion.
that. Before you were saying you believed it 100% and I was no longer right.
No, we were talking about the semantics of what orbit meant.
No. Did you not hear me at all say, do you believe you are 100% correct and I am 100%? Now you're saying I'm 100% wrong. You didn't hear any of that in the
I
conversation.
heard that, but that
That's
was not
what
what
we're
I was
talking
But that
about.
wasn't what I was talking about.
But I am.
Well, then why are we having two different conversations?
I don't know, JD. Follow along. It's how you keep it a narrative. I think you think I'm attacking you and you're being defensive, and you shouldn't be. I'm intrigued by the behavioral choice, but I only got there because of you stating that you did change your position on it. But before you change your position, you were stating that you were 100% correct and I was 100% wrong.
That was not my intention. My intention was we were arguing the semantics of what orbit meant.
No, we were not.
The initial conversation this morning.
Upstairs.
Yes, that's
right
what,
here. All right, let's stop.
Then-
Let's pause. Let's pause. What do you think the conversation is we're having now?
whether or not Jupiter orbits a point in space or the sun.
We are not having that conversation together. I now know that's the conversation you are having.
Yes, which is why
That's fine.
I don't know.
Now that I know that, I'll be happy to have that conversation.
What conversation were you having?
I was having a conversation based on your behavioral decisions of that data. And I was asking questions based on that data. I was not asking you questions on the science.
So you were asking me if I 100% believed it or didn't believe it.
Correct.
That was no. I think it is plausible and I think it's intriguing, but I do not have enough data to say that is 100% the truth. But I do believe that the sources that gave it make it even more plausible.
All right. That's fine. But do you think the old information is accurate still?
Yes, because
It's the standard?
yeah.
So
And it is literally without measuring
Yeah.
everything, just looking at
all right.
physically.
So at
It is
this
literally
point,
going around
at
that
this
point.
at this point,
At this point.
with the knowledge you have,
Yes.
are you going to tell somebody you meet that did you know Jupiter and the sun orbit around a specific spot and not necessarily around the sun itself?
If it comes up in conversation, I would be like, there's a theory.
Ah, that's good. You're on the right path now. Because the theory is important to say.
Because there's still, whether or not you want to say it orbits around the sun or that point in space,
Yeah.
there is still a gravitational effect between the sun and Jupiter, which makes the sun move. Whether or not you want to say that Jupiter is orbiting the sun and it just moves because Jupiter's just so big, or do you want to say that that point in space is really what is the orbiting point for both of those things? That is two different things.
Yeah, but the
But we've already
standard is that
it
Jupiter orbits around the sun
Yes.
because what orbit is defined as, which has not been changed in 5 years. Because you said, based on I'm going to move it back to this morning.
Yes.
You were saying
The definition
it
of orbit.
just came out, so they're not going to change the definition overnight. But in 5 years, look at how often they do add and subtract to a dictionary. I'm just saying, you gave me false data. I was not aware that it was based on 5 years of study. Minimum. I was not aware of that. However, because now that I know it's 5 years of study, I know that they're still in the process to debunk or to qualify. Because 5 years is not long enough for them to be like, we are going to change the science because of this new data.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that I would not assimilate that information as possible, as in like, I still believe
You need a physical thing to be orbited around. or two things.
Yeah, I
It can't be
believe
an empty space.
the way orbit works is that something is orbiting around something specific, like, and it is defined by a star or a solid,
a physical thing,
a physical thing, yeah.
not just a point in space.
Yeah, not a axis, as one might say, like a pinpoint where things meet. Like this is the barometer of like the seesaw of action. Like, well, the seesaw works because there's a little point here. However, once it is finalized and people believe in that and they start changing the studies, I will start conceding to that. But that's how my brain works. Just because I read something today doesn't mean I'm even interested in utilizing it as a potential fact. But when you told me, I thought that was an interesting theory. And I was like, oh, that's cool that they're exploring that. But I wouldn't even put it into my I wouldn't even be like, hey, did you know that Jupiter actually doesn't orbit around the sun? Like, I wouldn't be that guy or girl. I'd be like, oh, this is interesting that they're working a theory based on new science that it's potential that Jupiter is not orbiting the sun. Which is a conversation I could have because I know that it's a working theory. But you
would not present it as fact.
Yeah, I would still be under the assumption, based on the standard or the precedent, that Jupiter indeed orbits the sun. Do I want it to change? Oh, yeah. I love when space stuff changes. I love that there is light coming from a black hole. They said no light can form from a black hole.
Surprise.
But there is literal image
of light coming from a black hole.
So now, light cannot come from a black hole is a false statement. Right?
Yes.
However, it is also an accurate statement. Light could not come from a black hole, but light can also come from a black hole. But it used to be an absolute. Light cannot come from a black hole. And now we have new proof. So do I believe that this could be wrong 100%? No, I do not believe it's 100% wrong. But I do believe it still needs to be explored, like all things. Like gravity wasn't like it hit his head and he was like, gravity exists. Well, there's also a theory that gravity doesn't exist. There's a counter argument to that because we don't, if you look it up, we don't understand gravity.
We don't. We have mathematics that explain how it works, but we can't explain what it is.
Yeah, like like it literally is gravity. Maybe the Earth is pulling us. And then because we used to think that, remember? We used to think we were being pulled to the Earth. Mm-hmm. But then it was like because of the force of the Earth moving around the sun.
But there's also a theory that if we just stopped moving altogether, we would still be stuck to the Earth. We wouldn't just fly off.
Yeah, for 14 days, is it? It's something like that. It's X amount of days.
That I don't know.
Yeah. What's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson actually answered that question. He says we wouldn't know the Earth stopped for X. It might be 3 days.
Whatever. It was days.
It's days. He's like, we wouldn't know, but as soon as it stopped, we would actually just start coming off the planet.
That'd be so weird.
Because it would be zero gravity. We wouldn't go forward. We would just.
Woohoo!
Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
Did you know that the planet also moves? So it doesn't just spin in once; it actually moves its axis. Did you know?
Oh yeah, it does like the little. Yeah.
See,
it's like a top.
It is like a top. See, you knew that.
I did know that.
Jesus. See, I know he reads. I'm just saying you just read it, and then you were like, "It's true."
I was excited.
There's a difference between excited and like, here's an idea that they're working on and they're studying. But you were like, I mean, you were standing on that hill. You were just.
Well, there is proof that the sun moves because of Jupiter. Whether or not they're saying that, are you qualifying the fact that the orbiting point is not the sun?
Yeah.
Or in the sun, that is the, I guess, what is up for debate. But the sun, there is mathematical proof that Jupiter is so big that the sun literally moves because it's how it's interacting with Jupiter.
So the sun is being pushed by Jupiter.
It's like a push-pull because it's gravity.
Yeah, it's the sledgehammer effect that I was telling you about.
Yes.
Yeah. But But Jupiter still goes around the sun in that situation.
It revolves around the sun.
Yeah, it does revolve. Well, this is you on the hill. Because you were just saying earlier that you don't believe it to be 100% accurate, but you're standing by the statement.
Because I don't want to use the term orbit because that was the term that was going around.
But it is orbiting the sun.
Yes.
But you're believing the article to be 100% accurate again.
It is going around the sun, but I want to see. I just want to see what the math is and what the science is and what the full extent is and whether or not that actual center point is in the sun or not in the sun. But the math that they were showing shows that it's plausible.
What you're using the same data from those 3 articles that the Jupiter pushes the sun.
Well, the gravity.
Yeah, but you're not using old information. You're using new information to say that the sun is pulled or pushed by the Jupiter.
No, that's always been a thing.
All right. Like, I'm trying to see where you're going with this.
No, like any two.
Yeah, because I know they have a sledgehammer effect because I explained it with if we held rope and we spun around.
Yes, Jupiter orbits the sun.
But by you saying I'm not going to use the word orbit, you're saying it revolves. That's you standing on the hill of data that you have not qualified. Even if it's 100% right, it's just interesting behavior that you literally read 3 articles, probably not in depth.
Because if there's a possibility that it's wrong, I do not want to use the wrong terminology. Revolving is always going to be correct because revolving and orbit are 2 different things.
Well, yes, I agree with that statement, but to change it that's like if someone says, there's a theory that an elephant holds up the Earth. You're going to go, well, now I don't want to say Earth is floating. Why not? Because there is a theory that I read that's 20 years old because people are crazy where an elephant holds up the Earth. Well,
actually, it's like 4 elephants on the back of a turtle.
Whatever. But the point is, have you ever seen it? Well, have you ever not seen it? I've never been in space, and I've never been to the South Pole.
Well, it's like you tell me that words can have different definitions, and I have to be
more
cognizant.
Words do have different definitions.
I know.
There's a difference that words can have and words do have.
Well, I have to be cognizant of what I'm saying and how I'm saying
it. Yeah, but for you to say, it's
Jupiter revolves. Jupiter orbits the sun.
Yeah. To say otherwise at this point would be assimilating data that is not accurate just because it's new data. Again, it is the turtle and the 4 elephants holding up the planet. Just because you didn't see it and you've never been to the South Pole, you can't debunk it, right?
Correct.
So I don't want to say that the Earth is floating just in case that damn turtle and those stupid elephants are definitely leaving a lot of feces in space.
Gross.
Maybe that's what the moon is made of.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying though?
Yes, I see what you're saying. There's not enough data it's not enough data for anyone to say that is 100% accurate.
Or even to change the vernacular.
Well, it's not
the vernacular change is that you were refusing to say orbit because there's a chance that that's not accurate anymore. But it's more accurate by a standard than it is inaccurate by a theory. Even though they're both theories, because again, the Earth was flat, then it was round, now it's oblique. Once it's span, now it actually wobbles. There's
more data.
Sun was, the sun orbited around Earth, but now we orbit around the sun. Like data is always changing, but there's a standard. But to change a standard based on an anomaly, which that's what that information would be considered an anomaly. It's a small speck of data in a much larger standard. However, I would be the first to stand online to agree with it the moment it becomes a standard. I would be like, nope, that's the standard now. Because as a society, for words to work, we need to stand by those standards. That's like you and I disagreeing on the word sit. And I'm like, oh, I've been sitting all day. No, you haven't. Yes, I have. I've been sitting in this chair. No, that's standing. And I'm like, what? And you're like, it's standing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, I read this article where these group of people are said that we actually been using the wrong terminology. Sitting is not correct. When you are down on a chair, you are standing in position. You're taking a stand. And then I'd be like, okay, all right. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
just because there is new information doesn't mean it becomes the standard. However, we have to agree on the standard that sitting is sitting, standing is standing, or we couldn't really communicate. We couldn't have definitive conversations. We couldn't have definitive proofs.
So question. So what would you say with the binary star system? They orbit each other. Is that what you're saying? The 2 stars orbit each other and not the point in space between them.
The way I was taught was the point between them is the energy that's formed because they orbit one another.
So the gravitational pull.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into this conversation because I don't believe you understand it enough. for us to have a conversation because you're using it as a counterpoint or a whataboutism to a different form because they are both matter. But the functionality of that versus the functionality of a freaking planet going around the sun are completely two different variables. If you believe they are identical, why do they have different terminologies? Wouldn't they just both be the same thing?
What do you mean?
Well, if we are going to compare the two stars rotating around each other, right, versus the planets rotating around a sun, or more importantly, orbiting a sun, those aren't the same. And if they were, they would literally be just the same. That would be a small solar system. Those two stars would be just a small solar system that we have that is just constantly moving through other solar systems.
Well, sometimes you have binary star systems that have like planets.
And what are the planets doing to the binary star system, JD?
Going around them.
Oh,
I suppose they're orbiting them.
they're orbit. No, they're orbit. What? They are orbiting the stars.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said they were going around them instead of orbiting.
And then I said, followed it up with orbiting. I said they're going around, and then I said orbiting.
Orbiting. Right. But the way a solar system works is not the same as binary stars. They might be a binary star system.
Which is a solar system. It just...
So that's what I'm saying. Why do they call binary stars
because there's
instead of solar
two.
system? Well, how many stars do we have in our solar system?
We have one, so we just call it
so we
a
just
solar
call it
system.
one.
But in order to make a distinction, if you see a binary star
Yeah,
system,
yeah,
it is a binary solar system. Binary star solar system.
If there's two.
Yes.
With no other planets.
If there are planets, there are planets. But it's just specifically talking about how many stars are there.
And you equate that to the same thing as planets circling a sun.
Two bodies in space have
All
a
right,
gravitational
you're right then.
pull.
You know what? Everybody out there, just so you know, it is fact that Jupiter does not orbit around the sun.
Well, we don't have enough data.
JD just disproved me by using a completely whataboutism situation based on inaccurate data that I am now going to accept. Because did you know when you throw a bowling ball and a small tennis ball down at the same time, there's a specific moment where they fall at the same time. That means stars can't be falling. I'm just going to say random things. I'm just going to bring up things that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. That is so crazy. You believe, and I might be wrong. You believe the binary stars, the ones that just the two go around, is identical to the way the sun works with our planets.
I believe that gravity works.
We're not talking about gravity.
That's literally what I'm talking about, is gravity between two objects in space.
Oh, so how many objects are in solar system?
A lot.
So are we talking about two objects working off of each other or multiple objects working off of each other?
Multiple.
So is that a variable?
That is a variable, yes.
So are they identical?
They're not identical.
So would you use them to figure out the same thing? The gravity theory or the mathematics in gravity you could potentially use to figure out the difference between each thing. But to look at that and compare that to that as an equal observation, that's inaccurate. They are not the same thing.
They are not the same thing, but the idea is that gravity is the same no matter what.
Yeah. So JD, based on what he read on the internet, is saying that there's a gravitational point between the two stars.
No, there's not a no.
All right, go ahead.
No,
what are you
no,
saying?
no,
go ahead. Go ahead.
There's a gravitational pull between two bodies in space.
And that pull starts in the center.
No.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Apparently he's not listening.
No, go ahead. I'm just trying to hear this out.
The center of gravity is different depending on the two bodies being pulled towards one another.
Okay, what's that have to do with orbiting?
Because wherever the center of gravity is, according to the way that was presented,
so those stars are not orbiting each other. They're orbiting a center point.
If I remember correctly, from what I was studying in school and from what I refreshed earlier today,
I got
yes,
I
there's a center point at which
yes,
they orbit.
Jupiter does not orbit the sun. I'm on board with you. I'm going to tell everybody that now. I believe you. Do you not believe that's accurate then?
I think I still need more data.
I think you have plenty of data. You compared two suns that are not orbiting around each other. They're orbiting around a center point to a gravitational pull based on the two bodies, right? Which is exactly how our solar system works. There's the sun and Earth, and then there's like a center point,
which is inside the sun. which is the gravitational, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
center of gravity.
That makes sense because the sun is big.
Yes, it is significantly bigger than the Earth, so therefore the center of gravity is within the sun.
So technically, Earth is not orbiting the sun.
The center of gravity is within the sun, so
But
therefore
it is not the sun.
If you want to get technical, then it is entering.
See,
it
JD
orbiting,
is a scientist.
It is orbiting It is orbiting a space, a point in space, which happens to be in the sun.
What you are saying is that Earth does not orbit the sun. It orbits a spot that takes up a space within where the sun occupies.
Yes, I 100% agree with that statement.
So, all we've ever been taught is actually wrong.
If that theory becomes the standard, then yes,
It's based on not only your theory of observation,
If it becomes,
but that article and the binary solar system, the two-star system. Based on what you just said as your standing point, I am conceding. I believe you are 100% right. But I also now believe, based on your theory, or actually your fact.
theory.
No, it's a fact.
Theory.
Well, then why are you using it? So we're not debating. You're just throwing out ideas.
Yes.
Oh, well, in a debate, you have to actually present fact. But if you're gonna throw back the theory, how can I agree with you?
Well, we've already established that all science is a theory and there are no facts because it is all theory.
But in a debate, you qualify your facts even within theory. So if you're going to argue a specific theory, you have to have it in the foundation of what would be considered fact for that theory.
Which makes sense. This way you
So
can actually
based on your theory, the Earth indeed, including all the planets,
do not
orbit the sun.
They orbit a point in space, which happens to be inside
where the sun is. But it's not inside the sun. The sun takes up the space where that point exists. But the sun itself is not the reason they orbit that spot.
If we were to go by the theory, it would be because of the force of gravity between those individual objects and the center of gravity being where it is. So they are orbiting the center of gravity between the two objects.
I'm on board. I agree with you. I am literally changing the way I look at it. I no longer believe that the planets orbit the sun. They orbit a specific position where the sun occupies, but not the sun itself. And it just so happens, because of the size of all the planets together, they are being pushed and pulled by Jupiter. Hear me out. You said the sun and Jupiter push back and forth on each other.
Yes.
Oh, wait. No, that's not accurate, because the planets would have nothing to do with Jupiter, because the planets aren't actually being affected by the sun. They're being affected by that pinpoint that just so happens. Oh, so then the planets are being affected by the behavior of the sun?
You're applying the wrong dynamics to the point. The point.
Are you?
Let's have a different conversation.
Are you saying the planets are affected by Jupiter?
Everything in the solar system is affected by everything.
Yeah, but they're being pushed by Jupiter. Because if the sun is being pushed and pulled by Jupiter, then the planets are being pushed.
They are.
So everything we've actually learned based on this article and your theory.
Technically, everything within the solar system is affecting everything in the solar system.
That I agree with, yeah.
And there are, Uranus and Neptune interfere.
He said it earlier. He said Uranus correctly. He sounds smart, but now he's just
Uranus and Neptune. Uranus and Neptune do interact with each other's orbits.
Yeah, right. I got you. Listen, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm not arguing that. I'm more interested in the behavior than I am your science.
The using science to explore the theory?
No, your behavior of limited data changing you became an extreme with limited data. You took on elements of something you did not know a lot about. And that was an interesting. I don't care about, I don't care that you do. Lots of people do it. I just find that behavior interesting. Like when someone does it, it's just like, hey, did you see on this lollipop and this lollipop and this lollipop? And then they're like, did you know? That's why I always like the Snapples, because people are like, Snapple says blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, you're supposed to go to freaking Snapple and it tells you if it's real or not. That's not true. Why is it not true? Because I never thought to do it. Read the cap. I'll be right back. Because Snapple did that. They made it so you would go to the website to see if what you read is true or not. I don't know if they do it anymore, but when they first came out with the Snapple caps.
Yeah, they definitely say go to the website. To see
no. Oh, see if it's true or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely know they did it. I definitely know. Because I always thought that was funny. I was like, because you'd read some and be
You're
like,
like, there's no way that's true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But people read those caps, and what do?
They think it's true.
They think it's true. So that's the same behavior you just did today.
I believe I was just exploring the theory, and then we were having a debate.
Yeah, I know.
But I've also, throughout this entire thing,
Yeah.
have stated that I do not have enough data to show that it is.
I know you don't have enough data.
Then why are you
We're
saying
not. No,
then I'm applying
because
the
you
extreme? No.
because you were like, I refuse. I'm not going to use the word orbit because I could be wrong. There's a potential I am wrong. That
Well, I
means
still
you are,
need to do data. I didn't take it as 100% accurate.
but it means you are changing your perception of
Well,
something.
if there is a potential that it might be wrong information, then
well,
I
that's
will like
why
to,
I believe you should stop saying that the Earth is is not on an elephant. You know what I'm saying? I think you should start at least believing that there is a very small chance that a turtle with 4 elephants hold the planet up. Why would you not believe that? You have not physically seen the lack of evidence because a photo is not true. Video can be manipulated.
photo can be manipulated. True.
You know what I'm saying? You have not
so,
seen it. So you're not even gonna entertain that idea.
No.
Which is
because-
insane.
Would you?
I do not entertain it because I base myself on standards and I don't change my
All right,
data
so then
until
I'm
I
going
have
off
new
the standard of
standards.
how gravity works. Anyway, I think it's about time for dinner.
Anyway, next week we're gonna do an episode on
Astrophysics.
how the blood boils instantly when you're in space.
We'll have it. Well, I'm not getting in this conversation again.
Instantly.
It's not instant.
How long does it take? 15 minutes?
I don't know.
What is
I have to
Was
do the
it
research
13
to get the
Instant.
information.
He was reading it off his phone and just like, you boil. And it was like,
Because air pressure changes the boiling point of liquids.
yeah, but you only know that because you read one little thing that was based on a list that was found on Google search. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But how many things do you read where you're like, this is, you know what? I don't have the time to do massive research on this, but I believe what I read. Like, it's just interesting.
I was talking to, I was progressing the conversation we were having at that time.
I know.
So
I
we can
got you.
continue.
No, I understand. Listen, what happens is Event Horizon is the most accurate film.
And we're done, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your Sunday.
Is that today or tomorrow?
It is definitely right now.
It'd be so funny if next week we start off and we literally just start from right here.
Oh my God.
There we go. We've been here all week. We've been pooping and pissing.
We're the same clothes.
We're shaking. We haven't even eaten dinner in 7 days. Gravity is pulling my poop.
Technically, yes, it is.
Technically, you have a center point of the gravitational.